Where's Waldo? Where's Waldo? Nowhere. And everywhere. Is true, I haven't gotten my chats set UO yet. Hi. The real Waldo was the friends we made along the way. Waldo was inside us all along. Knowing is half the Waldo. Giggity. A Waldo in the hand is worth two in the bush. Knowing is half the Waldo. Thank you for the follow at Manahi.
Friggin' frog's gay!
Hello great streamer, keep up the good work, I really enjoy your performance. I have some advice that should help you improving your stream. Mind adding up on Discord at Witwixo. Feels canned. Kinda Seuss, yes. Have you considered buying views at totallynotascamwebsite.com? I had not, thanks for the idea though. What could possibly go wrong? All you need to do is input Thomas' social security number and you can release all the Nigerian funds trapped in customs. Thanks for turning a frog gay. He doesn't use his real social. He has many sock puppets for the IRS. So does anyone know if the kick hack stealing payment info was real or fake? I've heard both ways. Same. And I don't want my buddy KBP getting hurt. Check out Waldo's videos https www.youtubecom at Waldo Videos. Can we hack the slots? Slots. I already did to make you lose. The result is at KBP24. Good job, you got 2 equal emojis x2, you won 100 points. Okay, now turning them back on. Slot hacks on. Gamble 100. At KBP24 dice roll result 3, you got half of the bet back. The result is at KBP24. Amazing job, you won infinity billion points. At Popo G42, that's the hack right there. Unfortunately, the IRS takes all your points and gives you a can of pickled herring and a lifetime ban from gambling. Thanks, Obama. Damned communist IRS.
Oh, hi, how you doing? My name is Waldo, and I am here to feel the politics with you today. How is everybody? Glad you're here. What up, nerds? Where are my politics nerds at? Woo, politics nerds. I am going to hop over to the Discord, which is a very cool place.
Oh hi, I didn't see you there, Waldo.
uh, you could go there
Discord. https discord gg benyatritix 8.
if you like. And we have a person in the voice chat. His name is Thomas, and I'm going to pop in there so you can hear him too. And Thomas, are you there? Hello.
A person.
Yes, I'm here.
Oh, hi. How's it going? How you doing today?
I'm doing all right. A little hungover,
Thomas
actually,
is a
if I'm
person
being
now.
honest.
That's cool. So because I'm so bad at this like whole streaming thing, um, if the moment I jump in here, like they will hear you, even if I'm on that start screen.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, when it's on the start screen, I can talk all day long. No one will hear me. But you and the robot lady are tied into the same audio input. So
Ah,
if I wanted to talk to you, I'd have to turn the robot lady off too. Um,
gotcha.
and there was a lot of robot lady talking today. There's a lot of canooch going on today, so it was very fun. It was a good time. Sorry about that. I'm maybe I'll get better, but probably not. Uh, perhaps I will become better at this thing, but perhaps not. Also, not getting any better is an option. Uh, Uh, so, what the hell are we doing? Oh yeah, we're doing a politics stream. Um, if you're watching, if you're paying attention, please hop into the chat. Every time you chat, you get 5 points, and as you can see, you can use those points to gamble and play a slot machine. And maybe you'll get addicted to it and have
You
to come
gotta
back every
route the
day.
whiz bangle onto the left audio channel before the
Hey,
waiting
I was
screen
gambling last
reconfigures the
night.
mutational
Oh
That's
yeah,
great.
status.
that's
Yeah,
cool.
I won. I went up like $200, and then I was down like $200, and then I was even, and I was like, "Hi, we done."
Up.
It was like 2 in the morning.
I've never been up. I don't know what that's like. Uh, Literally
Really?
never. Oh God, no! I am not allowed to win at gambling. It's just not a thing that I am capable of doing. Every time I try and gamble, I immediately lose. I go down, then I go down, then I go down, then I go up a little bit, then I go down, then I go down, then I'm broke. Uh,
Huh.
look, it's Bobo. Bobo's here. Hi,
Really,
Bobo.
Bobo?
I find that
Yeah,
I actually win more than I lose when I gamble usually.
uh, because my wife is still out of town, he needs to be paid attention to 100% of the time. Don't you, Bobo? Like, if this guy does not have like attention on him, he will scream at me, he will bark, he will scratch on the doors if someone isn't like talking to him, paying attention to him, and looking at him. So he will probably be riding shotgun with me back here on his little beanbag most of the day and barking. So ready for that. Ready, Bobo? Yeah, let's do some politics, Bobo. Look at the size of those ears. Look at them. They're massive. Those are too big. All
They're
right.
like big palm tree fronds.
I know. Ah, there you go. Oh, goodness. Okay. So let me think. What was I going to talk about? Oh, yeah, the politics. Um, I was reading and thinking and looking at, the Constitution and Jefferson Davis, of all people. Heard of this guy? Uh, I'm not a fan of him. Uh, and thinking about how it applies to Trump, and I think that I've come to a conclusion
Oh
that
well, Jeffy boy.
uh, would be it's morally correct to ban Trump from the ballots. That is the point I have come to. It not only is it morally correct, but it is legally sound. Popog disagrees with me, though I think that it is legally sound and supported by the Constitution.
I don't think so, but go ahead.
So there was a guy. His name was Jefferson Davis. Have you heard of this guy? Uh,
Yeah.
he was the president of the Confederacy.
Uh-huh.
So pretty big deal that guy. And he used to have been. He was at one point. Where is the button? Come on. He was at one point a senator for the United States. Chose to uh, be a part of the Southern Rebellion and was the head of the Confederacy. Fought a whole civil war. Now, question for you, Thomas. Why doesn't this son of a bitch work? Not the question I'm asking you.
Oh,
Sometimes fucking OBS just does not want to function.
See, you said question for you, Thomas, and then you
I know, I'm
immediately
screaming. Yeah, I know.
started a question,
I started a question, which was why in the damn hell
which
does
which was not the
OBS
one you wanted
not
to ask
work?
me.
Which is not the one I wanted to ask you because I'm
Whoa,
trying. There it is. Finally, good God. Like, there's
your
a drop
stream,
down.
your stream is like when you have mirrors.
I know. There's a drop down in OBS where you choose what to put on the screen over here. See this? This is on the screen. That's on the drop down. Sometimes the drop down does whatever the damn hell it wants and doesn't show things that are on there, and it shows things from like 4 streams ago. Not kidding. I can go into that drop down and see websites from like 4 streams ago. Why? I don't know. The one I have on my screen right now of Jefferson Davis wasn't an option. Not an option, but something from like four weeks ago was. And then I have to like F5 and I have to fight with it and I have to wrestle with it. Okay. We're on point now. Okay. Look. This is Jefferson Davis.
Yeah.
Sometimes the Constitution prevents people from being voted for. It does. The Constitution prevents people who were born outside of America from running for president, right?
Yes.
And we accept that as a
Uh-huh.
correct fact. I accept that as a correct fact. No matter how much I want to vote for Arnold Schwarzenegger, he's an American citizen now. He was the governor of California, and no matter how much I want to vote for Arnold Schwarzenegger for president, I can't. He can't run. He's ineligible. I'm okay with that. You're okay with that. We're okay with that. This seems
Uh-huh.
like a system, and that's the Constitution telling me who I can't vote for. Hang on to that idea. Jefferson
Yes, you
Davis.
cannot vote for Kim Jong-un.
Right, I can't vote for Kim Jong Un no matter how much I want to. Same for Jefferson Davis, right? Because he didn't run for president of the United States after the Civil War, but if he had, would it be okay with you, Thomas? This is the question. Post Civil War, Jefferson Davis runs for president of the United States. Alternate history slightly. Are you okay with the Constitution preventing his eligibility?
Mm, not really.
You're not okay with that. Okay. That's what the 14th Amendment did. 14th Amendment, Section 3, the one that they're using to chase after Trump right now, did exactly that. Prevented the person, Jefferson Davis, from running for office in the United
I actually
States.
think the 14th Amendment is one of our worst amendments.
Okay. So you're
So,
okay. So all right. That's fine. I think that it's a good idea. You should not
and
allow
I don't say that for
Jefferson Davis to run for president of the United States. You shouldn't allow it. I'm okay with that.
I don't say
I'm
that for the intent
Mhm.
behind it. Um, but I think it's one of the worst written ones.
It's poorly written, and because of that, you disagree with the way it plays out, or
Oh yeah, 100%. Like, so for example, the first part of it is the part that said that anybody who's born in the United States is a citizen, and the intent there was, you know, this prevents anyone from uh, categorizing a former slave as a non-citizen,
Mhm.
right?
That was
And
their
now
intent, right?
the way that it's used is if you step 2 feet north of the border and pop out a baby, the baby's an American citizen. But
Hmm.
if you're 2 feet south of the border and you pop out a baby, it's not.
Right.
Like, it don't make sense.
There we draw
um,
lines. Borders don't make sense. I agree with you, my
and
man.
then
Borders don't make sense.
the well, that's
I know.
not the
We're
point.
I know.
And then you have this whole uh, situation of anyone engaged in insurrection can't run and whatnot. I really don't think that I would qualify January 6th as an event that is on the scale even.
I agree. It is.
Well, it certainly isn't on the scale.
Yeah, I agree. It's much
Um,
smaller. But
but
even on the
I
large
don't even
scale.
think I could call it an insurrection.
But
I'd call it an
before
incident
we
of stupidity.
before we move up to Trump, let's stick around here. Jefferson Davis, architect of the Civil War, leader of the Southern Army, literally led no, he didn't lead the charge, but he led the army
Well,
to
so
killing Americans.
this
And
also
you're
doesn't
okay with
prevent.
him running after the
Yeah,
Civil
hold
War.
on. So the other thing with the 14th Amendment is it also doesn't prevent something where someone hasn't actively engaged in insurrection, but where their attempt to manipulate our political system is an act of insurrection itself.
Hmm.
So, like for example, in the oh shoot, I'm forgetting what they're called. You have what's called the Long March through the Institutions, right? That
Hmm.
old McCarthy was really worried about.
Okay.
And you couldn't use the 14th Amendment to prevent communists from running and then infiltrating into the United States government. But but the 14th Amendment was specifically designed to prevent the Confederates from doing it, right?
Right. It was, and I would agree to that. Its intent and specific design was to prevent these Confederate people from running because they did insurrection and rebellion.
Well, right, exactly. And that's sort of what I'm getting at is that the intent behind the 14th Amendment, they intended to make sure that nobody categorized a slave as a non-citizen. They
Hmm.
intended to make sure that the Confederates couldn't run for office. It just the way that it came out as an amendment is really shitty. Like it
Okay.
doesn't apply to certain situations, and it does apply to other ones, and it applies in like I said in the case of the first section, it's like to too many things. Like, yeah, I'm not. I think the 14th Amendment is probably my least favorite one. Um, but yeah, so Jefferson Davis.
Okay. So if the 14th Amendment isn't properly written, it needs interpretation, things like that. So I mean, I think that's fine. I think we should interpret those things and measure them and put put them onto the current circumstances and make a decision. Uh,
Okay,
so yeah, Jefferson Davis. I think it's fine for the Constitution to prevent him from running. I accept that. I think that's a proper idea. I think that's a
I
good
disagree.
idea. I think that's an acceptable use of the law, the courts, and the country.
Well, so the country, if Jefferson Davis in your hypothetical situation had ran for president
Hmm.
afterward, right?
Hmm.
Uh, the country would have had to elect him,
Right. And
which they
because he's
wouldn't have.
anti-American and anti-American rights, we should prevent him from doing so, from running. We
So
prevent
in
we
that
prevent
situation,
29-year-olds from running. We prevent people born in Germany from running. We prevent Arnold Schwarzenegger, and that's acceptable. Why isn't it acceptable to prevent anti-Americans?
why shouldn't we prevent communists from running?
If they're pushing if part of their platform is to take away democracy, I'll suggest to them too. We'd probably have to write a new amendment because they haven't done an insurrection or anything like that. But I'm okay with preventing anti-Americans, anti-freedom, anti-democracy from running. I'm okay with that. I think that the law ought to be built that way in a democracy. We have a democracy right now, slightly, mostly. I'll say mostly. And if your platform is I will end democracy, vote for me, I'm okay with the entire law saying no, you can't run. You're ineligible.
Oh, I disagree with that too.
That sounds insane to me. Why wouldn't you want the system that you are supporting to support
Hmm.
itself?
Well, the system that I'm supporting involves people making choices. And
And
for this person to run, more than half the electorate would have to say, yeah, I don't like democracy. Let's not do that anymore. And they would make their choice. People are responsible for their government.
hmm and if they choose a person who then removes democracy, that's okay. And then that
Yeah.
person removes democracy. That's just
And when they do that, that's
democracy in action.
it is, yes.
Great. And then how do we get
That's
it
their
back? Is there
choice.
another election, or is this guy God Emperor forever?
Oh no. When the way you get it back is when you're sick of this guy or his
Violent
progeny, whoever.
violence.
It's violent. Yeah.
Violence. Okay. How about we just prevent him from running and avoid the violence?
People are responsible for the choices they make. If they vote for the wrong person, it's the same way that like I don't have any sympathy for any people that are under the thumb of a dictator in some other country, right? Like people are responsible for their government. The every single government operates under the consent of the governed.
I mean,
Like
unless it's violently
straight up,
holding them down.
are the military members of that country that are oppressing them also not people from the government?
Their
Like,
specific interest is I
or
get
people?
to be powerful as a military
Uh,
member, and all I have to do is hold down the proles. Yeah, it's good for me. That's why they make that choice. They don't make that choice because they're evil. They don't make that choice because they're uh, bad people. They make that choice because it benefits themselves, and they're a bit more selfish than maybe a normal person would be.
well, that sucks. And
Right, that sucks. And
but
there's only one
those
way around
people,
that violence. I agree. In that case, there is only one way past that lots of violence. But maybe if we used a little bit of wisdom, we rolled some dice on a wisdom check and suggested, hey, this guy is running a platform of taking away democracy, removing people's rights. Let's make him
if the
ineligible.
people choose to vote for that person, let them. It's their fault.
Okay. But we can't vote for a 29-year-old for president.
I mean, I think we should be able to,
Okay.
but
Vote for anybody for
the
president.
Constitution says, yeah, well, no, they have to be a citizen. You can't vote for
Okay,
someone
so
from foreign
that's a
power to
line.
be our
That's a
president.
hard line you're willing to draw, but not a hard line on I will end democracy if elected. That's not a hard line you're willing to draw. That seems insane to me. I'm not.
Well, the reason is because we have interests as a nation, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if you vote for someone who is not a, if you vote for someone who has
Palpatine.
interests,
Let's call him Palpatine. How about that? Because he literally did get elected and then ended
let's call
democracy.
him
So Palpatine
Kim Jong Il.
or Kim Jong. Okay.
Um, Kim Jong Il has interests that are not aligned with the betterment of the United States, right? Like, if Kim Jong Il became the president of the USA while also being president of North Korea, he would make decisions as the president of the USA that hurt us and helped North Korea, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think that it makes sense to let someone who has alternate interests to run, right? Like he has a conflict of interest there, whereas, um, I mean, even Palpatine. It's
Palpatine
like
ending democracy isn't a conflict of
if
interest.
Palpatine was just a United States citizen, what country does he serve that he could, you know, what country does he serve that he is pulling the strings in favor of at the detriment of the United States, right?
Okay. That's
And yes, if the people vote for Palpatine,
Palpatine, born in America, over 35 years old, has lived here for 12 years, ran as a senator promising to end democracy. He has ended democracy in his state of, I don't know, New Mexico.
People are
Or
responsible for
and
the
they
government
accept
that
it and
they
they love
elect.
it and they like it, and he
Then
is
let
now
them.
running on a stage. What about their kids? What about the next 4 years when he doesn't step down? Violence is the only answer. And I think that's the situation we keep getting to. Yeah, great. You can you can violently overthrow your government, but shouldn't we take the steps to prevent the violence? Is prevention an ounce of prevention not worth a pound of cure?
Nope.
Nope. Okay. I disagree completely. I
I
think
mean,
it's
look, like I
morally
said,
acceptable to
people are
block
responsible
Palpatine.
for the government that they are under. That's it. All
Sure.
governments exist at the consent of the governed.
Are they still responsible for the government after Palpatine takes over?
Yes.
No, they're not. They're not in charge of it.
Yes,
It's
they
not a
are.
democracy anymore. They're not making any choices. They're not telling him what ought to be done. He's
If
not
they don't
listening
like
to
what he's
them. He's
doing, they
doing
should
what he
overthrow
wants.
him.
They should
And guess
violently
what?
overthrow him. And that's the
Yep.
only
Yeah.
option.
Yeah. And
You
guess what? There was a violent revolution that occurred in Star Wars for
Yes, there
Palpatine.
was.
Yes.
Couldn't
The Rebel
Jar Jar
Alliance
have
went and
prevented
blew up
all of that?
his
Couldn't
Death
Jar
Star
Jar have
twice.
prevented all of it? And it was a huge waste of resources and manpower and lives. Couldn't Jar Jar have avoided all of it by not giving Palpatine the thing, saying, "Hey, listen, I want an amendment that you can't run as uh, a person who will take away democracy." Jar Jar could have prevented Palpatine from taking over. He wouldn't have become the Emperor. He wouldn't have built that Death Star. He wouldn't have had been destroyed. The violence would have been prevented. I would like to prevent violence. I think that's a good idea.
I think you're thinking too far down the road, actually.
Because I've got the car in D. I'm looking forward. I'm driving. I'm looking forward, and what I see is removing Donald Trump from the ballots will be less chaos than allowing him on there.
I don't agree.
I think that
I mean,
the
first of all,
Constitution tells you who you can't vote for all the time. It does. It tells you who you can't vote for. And if you
well, a couple of things about that.
Mhm.
First of all, is there were some interesting arguments made. If we're getting to the Donald Trump stuff,
Yeah, let's move on to Donald Trump. Good call.
yeah. If the Constitution as written, there were some very interesting arguments made. I read some of the transcript from the initial hearings, the arguments made, and one of the arguments made was that the text of the 14th Amendment is not self-executing. So, for example, you can run for president or you can run for Congress, right? And you can win. And after the fact, if the 14th Amendment is applicable, then Congress, with a 2/3 vote, must decide whether or not you are actually eligible to win or not.
Right. And the Supreme Court accepting Colorado's thing doesn't take that away. That's still on the table. That's still entirely acceptable if the Supreme Court makes a certain type of a decision. They say, yeah, Colorado is correct. The Donald Trump could be written in, he could win, and then the Senate could 2/3 vote that he is eligible, like you're just describing. That's still there under my proposed suggestion.
Wait, what is your proposed suggestion?
That Colorado is correct. 14.3, the 14th Amendment, third section, should be applied to Donald Trump. And the SCOTUS should say, yes, that is acceptable. And then he would not be on the ballot. I think it's entirely acceptable. I think it's not only morally acceptable, I think it's legally sound and supported by the Constitution to remove Donald Trump from the ballot. Because he did, in fact, support an insurrection.
Well, No, the 14th Amendment does not say you can't run for a public office. The
Does
14th Amendment says you can't hold public office.
okay. So
So Arnold Schwarzenegger
can run according to you?
can run.
I think
Yes,
I think
absolutely.
I think somebody else is actually doing this right now, and it's what's his name? Cenk Uygur from the Young Turks. He is not allowed on the ballots in many states because he was not born in America. He is challenging that in court, but the courts will not allow him on the ballots because he's not eligible.
See, I mean, I think that he can run if he wants, and Kim
Okay.
Jong-il
So from your
or
point
Kim
of view,
Jong-un can run
they're
if he
allowed to run,
wants.
and they're allowed to be on ballots, and they're
Run, be
allowed
on
to
the
be there.
ballot. Guess what? Some of you are not eligible. If you vote for this person, you're not gonna. They're not gonna make it into office because if you elect them,
Again, with the forethought wisdom suggestion, if we know, can't we figure out who's eligible ahead of time so that people aren't throwing their votes away, wasting their votes?
not as the text is written.
Not as the text is written. Okay. Well, I think that's a shit system. Maybe the 14th is a bad amendment, and we ought to fix
I
it.
told you, the 14th is literally the worst amendment.
Okay, maybe we ought to straighten it out a little bit.
Except for the one, the abolition one, and then we had to write another amendment to cancel abolition. But
right. There's
yeah,
a whole thing. It got written, then it got changed. So what I'm suggesting is, as it's written right now, it seems to me like it applies to Donald Trump the same way it applied to Jefferson Davis, and Jefferson Davis didn't run, but if he had, I would be accepting of that intent. That was their
well,
intent, stop these anti-Americans from running for office in America. And I think Donald Trump fits that bill because he has not only done that insurrection thing, he has promised in his speeches, it's part of his platform now. He has promised that he will remove everyone who is not loyal to him from the federal government. He's promised that. He is telling us specifically on stage in front of a camera that he will remove everyone who is not loyal to him. He will clean out the deep state, which means anybody who disagrees with him, and then he will uh, he's promised to prosecute his rivals. He has promised to prosecute people on made-up nonsense charges.
I mean, if you look at his track record, he said that in the last election too, and it didn't happen. So
right, but now he
I wouldn't
knows
take him
that
at his
he's
word.
immune from crimes. He has suggested very, very many times that he is immune from the crimes he committed while a president and in the future and afterward. He's pushed full immunity for himself for eternity, forever. And if once he's on that level, will he not just break all the laws? I think he will. I think Donald Trump gets elected, he breaks laws like fucking crazy. All day,
Could be
every day.
some.
He's breaking laws. He's putting people in gulags. He's going to start up some gulags, bro.
No, he won't.
Gulags are coming if Donald Trump wins. The people who are
So silly.
no, he's promised it.
You've
He
been
has
watching too much Lost, dude.
promised it. He's promised it. He has told
They're
us
not
that is
coming.
exactly what
Not
he is
happening.
doing. He told us what he was going to do. And what he was going to do is prosecute the people who disagree with him.
He said that he would prosecute Hillary, didn't he?
Yeah. And he didn't
Did he?
because it wasn't legal.
That's what I thought.
And then the lawyers weren't on his side and then they couldn't do it. He'll get rid of the lawyers. He has lost all fear. He has been shed of the fear. He will surround himself with lawyers who do whatever he wants, and then he'll start replacing judges. And because he's got
Can't
this
just replace
immunity
a
thing,
judge.
he will. He'll just do it.
You literally can't.
Palpatine couldn't dissolve the Senate, but he did. There's no rule that says Palpatine can dissolve the Senate, but he did. That's what Trump will do. He'll just do it.
We
He'll
have
just
checks
do
and
whatever he
balances.
wants.
It's not gonna
No,
happen.
they'll be gone. He will be cease to exist. And you know who has the other half of that
You're
checks and
fear-mongering.
balances? You know who has the other half of those checks and balances? The Democrats, the wieners, the wimpy, lame, milquetoast, limp dick, spineless Democrats. Nancy Pelosi.
Well, no.
Donald Trump will dissolve the Senate, and Nancy Pelosi will write a strongly worded letter.
What the fuck are
That's
you talking
it.
about?
That's it. That's all that'll
You're
happen.
out of your mind, dude.
No,
This
that's
is-
what's going to happen.
This-
He's going to
is this
dissolve the
showmanship?
things. No, he's going to dissolve the
come
stuff.
on.
He's going to ruin the entire country. He's going to break laws, and Nancy Pelosi is going to write a letter. That's it. That's what's going to happen. He has promised to break the law in his next administration. He has promised to do so. And
All right,
by
200
doing so, I
bucks
think it's
says that
okay. I think it's okay if he's promising to break the law, to harm the Constitution. If he promises on his soapbox during the campaign to break the Constitution, are we not allowed to remove him and remove his eligibility? I think that's fine. I think that's
if
a
he
good
breaks the
idea.
Constitution while in office, we have a system for removing him. It's called impeachment.
And it won't happen because the Democrats will only have 49 votes, so it won't happen. They'll impeach him just like last time when he broke the law and he harmed the Constitution
Also,
twice.
when he makes a decision, guess what? He's the executive branch, not the legislative.
Mm-hmm.
So, if he makes a decision that is against the legislative branch, guess what? The court system can then say no, that decision is wrong and it's against what the legislative branch has said. So you don't get to do that.
But he'll have 51 Republicans who will just vote for everything he says.
What happened last time he was in office? How much did they actually get done?
He did
Like
not get, because he was afraid. He was worried about his second term. He was afraid of the courts. He was afraid of these things. Now he's
pushed
immune.
for a lot of things.
He's telling you he's immune. If he thinks he's immune, he'll do it.
For a lot of things. I mean, he tried to get a lot of stuff done, and all of it was shut down by his own party.
Right.
You think this time they're going to be more?
Oh, yes.
Subservient?
Sure are.
I suppose.
Yes.
I don't think so.
Not only is he more powerful now, he has beaten 2 impeachments because he was impeached, yeah, but he didn't get removed either time because Republicans covered for him because he is the future of the party. He has installed his daughter-in-law as the head of the RNC. Did you see that message? That news story that popped up?
Look,
his daughter-in-law is now in charge of the RNC, and she has promised to give all of their money to him. He's doing a corporate takeover of the entire thing. And I really think that this is, if he wins, I don't know that he will, but he might. It's going to go really badly, and he's going to break 1,000 laws, and the Republicans won't vote to get rid of him because he is in charge of their party, and his daughter-in-law won't back them for re-election. If you imagine if you voted against Donald Trump in the impeachment, you have to go through the RNC to get funds for your re-election. Laura Trump will just stop you from getting them. I think that's her name. I should look her up. But she's in charge of the RNC now. She decides where their money goes. And if you stand against him and you vote against him in that impeachment, you won't get any money. Or the RNC will coordinate a primary against you.
I mean, fine. Let them.
How is that fine? This is authoritarian. It's a bad system.
Do you represent yourself when you go to Congress, or do you represent the people that voted for you in the first place?
Donald Trump represents... Okay, sorry.
If those people want a certain thing to happen, and they elected you, for example, if they want you to vote in favor of impeachment of Donald Trump, vote for it. Congress members have a lifetime pension for this reason. Maybe we need to increase the pension.
And it's not enough for them to run a campaign. The stupid campaigns cost billions of dollars now. And they'll be pushed against from somewhere else. Hey,
I don't think it's
what
billions.
The hell is that sound? Frank Embry just rated me with 6 viewers. I appreciate that. Thank you, sir. I'm going to write that down and raid him again later, too. Very nice. Thanks, everybody. We're yelling about Trump right now.
Like I was saying, though,
mm-hmm.
People are responsible for the people they elect and or are responsible for their government. If that representative decides to vote against the interests of the people that elect them, then they need to be replaced.
And we won't be able to replace them because they will own all of the power. They will own the entire Senate. The Senate will be owned by Republicans. And when Donald Trump breaks the law, those Senate Republicans are going to be responsible for holding him to account, and they won't. They will simply choose not to.
Okay, and if the people are not okay with that, they need
Violence.
to elect somebody else.
Violence is the answer that we will have to get to. It has to come to violence.
They need to elect someone else.
Elect someone else. He's going to prevent you from being elected. He's going to prevent the proper election from happening. He's going to break the law on elections. He's already broken election law many, many times. Donald Trump and the Republicans have broken election laws. And your answer is to elect someone else?
Yeah.
There's no way it will work. You have to choose violence. Yeah, chat's choosing violence. I think that it won't. We either need to prevent the violence or do the violence.
So Donald Trump broke election laws last cycle.
Yes.
Who is currently the president?
Joe Biden.
So not Donald Trump.
Right, because he didn't break enough laws. Had he broken 20% more, maybe he'd have won. If the Republicans had...
How do you quantify 20% more election laws?
20% more election fraud. If Donald Trump had done 20% more election fraud, then he would have won. Yes, I'm pulling that number right out of my ass. I agree. You're right. I am pulling that out.
What if we just made this 20% cooler?
What if we just made it 20% cooler? Yeah, that's corporate. I'm a corporate guy. I understand. So yes, if a handful of the Republican senators had backed him on January 6th, the count might have stopped. That whole thing that they were trying to do on January 6th with the violence and the insurrection, if that had been 20% more successful, then yes, Donald Trump would have had the grounds to sue and say, I should have won, and stuff like that. If the fake electors had been successful in their fake electing, Donald Trump would have won. And all you have to do is break the law. And then once Donald Trump's in charge, he'll pardon you and get rid of anybody who argues. I think that's what he's going to do, and I think that's what's coming. And that's why I very much dislike him.
I doubt it.
Because he is a gigantic super cheater. He cheats at everything. Donald Trump cheats at golf. He cheats on his wife. He cheats on his taxes. He cheats in the he cheats at business. He cheats at real estate. He cheats at voting. He cheats at everything. And when he cheats, he wins, except in court. We'll talk about that here in a few minutes. Do you want to bring Popog on? Because I know he is excited to talk to us, and he is.
Bring him on.
Okay.
Why not?
He's probably going to agree with you. So I'm going to bring on Popog. Everybody, Popog is coming on. He is a super cool guy who is more legally sound than I am. Dragging him in.
And me. Popog, what's up?
Hello. Can you guys hear me?
Hey, good to talk to you again. Glad you're here.
Hope you've been enjoying this argument so far.
Yes, especially, the pro-Palpatine wing of this discussion is pretty good.
Right.
Hey, if the people elect him, let them.
To address a couple points that you guys have brought up, there is... one, I actually posted a little chart in the disagreements with Waldo. It's a second flow chart. Got so many flow charts.
Oh, good.
But you guys were talking about the eligibility. You have to be, 30 years old and a natural born citizen, right, and all that stuff.
35, but yeah.
Yeah, sure. There is, so the 35 and 14 years a resident and whatever, those all come from qualifications for the presidency, which is Article 2, Section 1, Clause 5.
Right.
Which it's different because those, at least it might be different. The court is somewhat deciding that now. Those say that they are not eligible to the office, right? Okay. Which is different from what it says in 14.3, which says hold any office. So there's a question there of whether or not
Ooh.
there's a difference between those terms.
That is an
which is
interesting distinction.
Yeah, that's a textual distinction that is going to be decided here. Maybe. But so the flowchart that I've given, it's not in order, as in, because you can kind of, the Supreme Court is probably going to decide whichever one of these is the smallest decision to make, because that's what they do, is they always pick the least impactful, smallest way to get rid of a case.
Okay.
That's particularly the Roberts Court. That is
Do
what
the least.
what he does.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
I can almost appreciate that.
Yeah, there is a certain merit to it, but it's also so this happened with EPA versus Sackett, which the recent EPA case that everyone was up in arms against was the second lawsuit between the EPA and the Sackett family. And so there's two Supreme Court cases called EPA versus Sackett that occur like 6 years from each other because they dealt with the first case in the least intrusive way. And so it went all the way down and then came all the way back up again, and they had to decide it again. So there's some downsides to doing that also, where it's like you will literally have these cases that just bounce back and forth to the Supreme Court for some like retiree couple wanting to build their house on some plot of land near a river, right? And it's like, is that really what the best use of our Supreme Court's time is?
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, yeah. So the flowchart's not in order, but I had to pick an order to make a flowchart, so that's what it is. And I kind of want to get your take on it, Waldo, in terms of one, if you think the flowchart is wrong in any way, or two, which way you go down the flowchart.
I have the flowchart here. I just need to push this button so everybody can look at it. Look at it. It's flowchart. Let me bring it over here. We're going to start.
All right, so on this flowchart,
Yep.
the part where I'm disagreeing is the third diamond.
The third diamond. You're hitting a thing on the third diamond. Okay. Start is president in the 14.3 A list. Yes. I think it would be redonkulous for him not to be in that thing. And someone just turned a frog gay. I appreciate it. Thank you. I think it's ridiculous to think that the president wouldn't be included in that. He holds an office. It doesn't the Second Amendment, or it was a Section 2, Article 2, uses the word office to describe the presidency.
It does. There's a couple of reasons why he might not be, which is the idea that the president, in the president's duties, he has to commission all of the officers, right? And so it
right. And I get that. I just think this is the weakest of the textualist arguments.
Which one? That first one?
Yeah, I kind of agree. I think it's, but there is one tangible difference that's a proposivist difference between the two, as to why. Because if you look at the drafts of this, the word president was in the list before, right? And it was removed.
So it was taken out. I don't like.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Right, on purpose, and that's why I said I'm fine with Jefferson Davis running for president.
Well,
so
they were spitballing. They were coming up with ideas. They were workshopping it, and then at some point it got removed. We don't know why they removed it. One, did they really want it removed, or did they think it was so blatantly obvious that they shouldn't lay it out?
So the great news about this is that we have tons and tons of records from this time, because this was much more recent in the founding. The founding we have a lot fewer papers about. In this we have newspaper articles, and we have the notes from a lot of these debates in the state houses where this was passed. And in one of those state houses we have a debate between two state senators or state Congress, whatever, who one of them says, like, hey, why isn't president on this list? And the other one says, no, he totally is on the list. See, he's in the any other office, right? And the first guy's like, oh, okay, that's fine then. But there are other houses, like other states, which don't agree with that interpretation. And so it's kind of annoying that the consensus on this, the historical consensus, appears to be nobody agreed, but we passed it anyway.
Which is why more evidence that the 14th sucks, right?
It's just pretty good evidence that the 14th Amendment sucks.
Okay, great. So at least we're all coming to that agreement.
Well, then I think I won this argument then, because I came in saying the 14th sucked, and you didn't.
Well, you can point to it sucking, but that doesn't mean
Here,
it's not
here we are.
doing the right thing for the right reason. And even in the text discussions I was having with Popok, I know. Even in the text discussions I was having with Popok, I kind of came down on the purposivist. How did you pronounce that? Purposivist.
Purposivism.
Purposivism. I didn't choose that because it made me right.
Chose you.
It chose me. Because I was looking at this thinking, what the hell did they want from this 14th Amendment? What was the intent? Why did they write this thing up? Then let's do that. And I became a purposivist, apparently.
Yeah, so there there is, like I said, there is an argument as to why president's not in that list, and it's because the overarching purpose of this is to remove power from the states and give it back to the federal government. It's like, oh, the states have too much power, they can send these senators in who are going to destroy the United States from within, so we need to rip power away from the states and put it in the hands of Congress and the federal government to staple this union back together and keep it together. And that's true for all of the things that are specifically in the list: senators, representatives, electors for president and vice president, the people who make up the electoral college. And then the other section, right, is any office, civil or military, under the United States or under any state. And that's trying to just kind of deplete those people's ranks from all of these other things. But for president, so it's like all of these appointed offices, right? And then the state offices, and then this list of federal elected representatives who are sent by each state. But the president is not a representative sent by each state. The president is sent by the many states. And so the president is already this federal position. And if you give the power to states to kick presidential candidates off of the ballots, like if you're saying, oh, Palpatine can't run for senator of Georgia, that only hurts Georgia. Right.
I agree with that.
But if you're like, oh, Palpatine can't run on the Colorado ballot because Colorado hates Nabooians and we want to hurt the state of Naboo, that's different. Right. So there's a material difference between the power dynamic of state representatives versus the office of the president or the vice president, which are elected, but they're pseudo-federally elected.
Okay.
Yeah, and beyond that, I mean, even the whole point is to prevent a Confederate long march through the institutions, right?
Right. It's
like
that is its intent, and I think that's applies to Trump. I think he is.
I don't think so, because
harmful.
President
he
sort
did
of
some
jumps
insurrection and ought to
the
not.
whole march,
I think he's not allowed to do that long march, right?
No. The long march is like you infiltrate, you get into the inner workings, you run for Congress, you run for Senate, and whatnot, and then you have a power base.
That's what he's promising. He's literally promising to do so. If he
then
pushes,
he's promising things he's not capable of.
Of course he is.
Trump
Ted Cruz will support him.
I mean,
and Ted Cruz is a senator.
Politicians overall promise a lot of shit that never happens.
He's in charge of the entire Republican
Party. I mean,
Trump's platform is promising shit.
Right. Well, maybe the thing he promises is very dangerous, and we shouldn't allow him to be eligible. That's my point. That's the point I'm getting to. Because he's promising things that are un-American, I think he's ineligible.
You can't do it based off of what he promises.
I know. We can't do it off what he's promising. You're right. I can't do it off of what he's promising, but I can do it off of the actions that he's taken, which was the insurrection on Jan 6. The Jan 6 is an overt act. It's a act towards the thing that you promise. I can say, you can say certain things under the free First Amendment, but once you start taking actions towards accomplishing that crime, I can say I'm gonna rob a bank, but once I start taking actions to further that thing, then it becomes true, right? Then it becomes a crime.
At the point of lawless imminent action, yes, that does become true under the Brandenburg test. But follow the flowchart, and we'll see when we hit that point.
We'll
I'll grant you
down
anything.
I'm saying yes, he is on that 14.3. Did Trump take the 14.3 oath? Yes, he did. I
agree.
So he push. He during his presidential oath, he supported and defended the Constitution, which 14.3 is part of. Are holding and running for the same thing? No. Shit. How does that make him Trump win?
Hold on.
Okay.
Papa had a thing to say there.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, just on the second one, I'm going to disagree with Thomas and say that this one is the weakest one.
Actually,
the oath
I
difference.
was going to correct myself and say yes, this is the weakest one. Yes,
because it says support instead of defend.
Yeah, it's
No.
kind of a wish-wash one.
He took the fucking oath. Like, let's be real.
Yeah, correct.
He took the oath. Yes, this is the weakest one. And after I said that, I was looking at the photo. I was like, yeah, no. So
I misunderstood what you guys were talking about.
I said that
weakest
is president in the 14A3 list is the weakest one. No, it's not. Actually, it's this one.
Yeah, the list has at least some potential justifications. This one has no justifications of like.
No.
If you broke, then they'd be treason anyway.
Yes.
So
okay, so all of us are in agreement on the second diamond. Trump did take the 14.3A oath. Okay, great. I'm glad we all agree on that. Look at this. We're building bridges over here. Third diamond. Right. Are holding and running for the same thing?
Well, yeah. So this is the question of is him being ineligible to hold office the same thing as him being ineligible to run for office?
Okay. Right. We have evidence.
And this is what we're talking about.
Popog, have you watched Cenk Uygur make this argument?
Cenk Uygur was in the Supreme Court. He was mentioned, not name dropped, but he was mentioned in the Supreme Court arguments at this point.
He's making this argument that he's eligible for the ballots.
And he's definitely wrong. There is absolute precedent on this where there is a concrete difference in, at least there's a concrete meaning and significance to the qualifications for presidency and the inability for states to add on to that list. So states are able to implement the list of no person except a natural born citizen, blah, 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 blah. They are able to, that list is called the qualifications clause, and it can be implemented by states. It's not actually mandatory for some reason. So some states are allowing Cenk Uygur to run as a joke, I guess. I don't really know, but they cannot add on to this list. That has been well decided, and the only question is 14.3 adding on to that list, or is it a different thing? And the justification for it being a different thing is that, one, it uses different terms, but two, it has, but Congress may vote by 2/3 of each house to remove such a disability. And by having that, you have a question of, so let's say Colorado removes Trump from the ballot, right? On October 31st, Congress has an emergency meeting and removes the disability from Trump.
Okay.
Right? They say, we voted for him. You know, he's a swell guy. He's now eligible. How do we go back in time and make Colorado punished for violating Trump's right to run for president? Because he has the right. So that's the question here.
Which is why we need to figure it out ahead of time. Well, let's use some let's use some wisdom and determine who is eligible, and if they are eligible, allow them on the ballot. And if they are ineligible, do not allow them on the ballot. That makes sense to me. If you're allowed to vote for Palpatine, and then later we find out that he is not eligible, you've wasted time, you've wasted resources, you've pissed off the people. Let's manage the chaos. Let's lower the amount of chaos.
But how? So this would only increase the chaos if Congress removed the disability, right? So to be able to remove him, if these are in fact different things, if they're the same thing, then we can move forward. But if they're different things, then basically Colorado does not have the ability to remove him from the ballot, because they would be adding a qualification to presidents, the requirements for presidency, and they don't have the power to do that.
Which is why I'm okay with it going to the Supreme Court. This is working properly. If you ask me, it's working properly.
Sure.
Colorado tries to do a thing, and it goes up to the Supreme Court to make that decision.
Is going to vote. I am almost willing to guarantee 9-0 in favor of jumping on the ballot.
Because of one of these first three diamonds, or because of the first one, or what?
I would bet a concurrence occurs on this point. So I'm gonna based on the questioning, we're either gonna get concurrence on this point or on the first one, because even Ketanji Brown Jackson likes the first one. She thinks
Mhm.
that the president is not on the list for some of the reasons stated. For the holding versus running for office, I would bet money on a concurrence from Gorsuch that this is one of the key differences, but I don't think we're going to get a majority on either of those. We might get Alito,
It doesn't have to be on a
Gorsuch.
specific
It won't
diamond,
matter,
right?
right? So
Yeah,
It's
so
going to be
correct.
9-0
Jackson
on
trips over
the fact that Trump gets to run, he gets to be on the ballot, and Colorado cannot remove him from the ballot on the grounds of the 14th Amendment.
Yeah, I think that's the likely outcome. But let's keep going.
Yeah.
So which way do you land? I mean, I think Thomas, do you have a particular opinion on the holding versus running for?
I think that they're different. Yeah, I think that anyone can run technically, but when they win, if they win, are they actually eligible? Congress can say no. In the case of the 14th Amendment, Congress then has to make them eligible by a 2/3 vote. Jefferson Davis could have won if he ran, and then Congress, by a 2/3 vote, could have said
no.
yes or no.
Okay, and if they said
Right?
no, I mean,
And if they said no, Jefferson Davis is not in.
and then all the people who voted for him are very angry, and then they cause chaos.
They're very angry, except that the whole point is that the people that voted no represent those people. And if they don't like the result, guess
Well,
what?
Well,
Don't reelect them.
the Senate is made up of two people from every state. So the southern states said yes, but there are more northern states, and so they all said no. You're causing chaos and a rift between the south and the north again.
You need 2/3 of each house, right? So
Also,
right, which they wouldn't have, which they wouldn't get. And
in order
at
to
which
get
point
that
the people
2/3
we
vote,
voted, the man we voted for, is not eligible after we voted for him and after the election is over.
in order to
We're
get that
very
2/3
angry.
vote, a lot of Northerners would have had to vote for him.
Well, maybe. Okay, so that situation would be he gets, well, not with the Electoral College anymore.
Not only does he win,
fucking Trump gets 6
through the
million fewer
Electoral
votes and
College.
still wins. Trump gets 6 million fewer votes, still wins. Then they choose to say that he is ineligible, that he doesn't get the 2/3 of the Senate. At which
maybe.
point
So there's other points, but if we grant that he's an insurrectionist, then yes, that would be procedurally the next thing to occur, which functionally would probably actually be in the form of an impeachment inquiry into whether or not he's eligible.
That sounds like chaos to me. Why can't we just figure this shit out ahead of time? Why can't we determine his eligibility before he's on the ballot?
We live in a democracy. Chaos is
so
thing that we do.
I agree with you, but this is also why I don't think that the Supreme Court is going to decide on any of these issues, because there are some problems with that. But do you, on this issue, assume that there's an anti-chaos machine that is working? We know Trump is going to lose the election, for example, right? We just know we've done polling, and he's polling at 5% of the vote or something, right? So we don't have to worry about that. Do you feel holding and running for the same thing? Do you think that he wins the case on this point, or do you think that we need to proceed further on the flowchart?
I think they're not the same thing, but it needs to be determined.
Trump wins.
Then his eligibility needs to be determined before the election. That's the point I'm trying to get to. He needs to be determined eligible.
Well, so you're saying no, but yes.
No, holding and running for are not the same thing. But
then
it
no,
doesn't
Trump
matter
wins.
because we need to determine this beforehand. Why should we determine eligibility after the election? That's insane.
That is possible here. There's a slight needle to thread on that, but so
effectively
in that case,
you're saying yes.
Yeah, effectively you're saying yes. That
Yes.
they're like maybe not totally, but from an implementation standpoint, they have to be.
Yes, and the reason what's the needle that I'm throwing? You're right. Running for implies that you can hold. If you are running for, and it implies you can hold it. So yes, running for is previous to holding. Running for, how can you run for a thing that you are not eligible to hold? It's a shit system that is
Sure.
not
I mean, that is it is an anti-originalist, semi-judicial activist approach, but it is actually, this is something that I would bet Roberts would vote on, because having procedures that actually function correctly is something that the Supreme Court probably should consider when it's making decisions on cases.
correctly functioning procedures. I like that term. That sounds like a good idea. We ought to have some of
Also,
those.
quick question, Popog, did you um create this spreadsheet yourself?
Yes, this flowchart is my creation, is wholly and entirely.
I love it. I'm
Nice.
going to put it on the YouTube page and then credit you. This is good.
Great.
Okay, so
It's a lot
I'm
of work,
saying
man. I
that
appreciate that.
yes, because if you are not capable of holding it, you should be ineligible for running. So
Yeah.
I'm functionally saying yes here because
All right.
that's the intent I'm getting to. And you think that the Supreme Court will
So
be
this is where we
gummed
that's
up
where we
on
disagree.
you think the
But
Supreme
yeah.
Court is going to hit these hurdles and then come down to Trump winning. And I don't
No.
think that that's impossible.
No.
No?
I think it's going to be 14.8.3 is not self-executing because it requires a 2/3 vote from Congress.
Okay. So you think
So
the
Trump
Supreme
will
Court's
have
going
to
to
win.
clear all of these three hurdles, and we're still on the yes thing, and then the Supreme
No, I'm
Court's going
saying
to get
even
here?
if they do. So I don't
Yeah,
think holding and running for office are the same thing.
So the
But-
important thing, like I mentioned about this flowchart, is it's not actually ordered. Like, I had to pick an
Okay.
order to make it.
Okay, right.
Yeah,
Which is the
so-
problem.
They
So
could start
holding
here if
and
they
running
want.
for office
They can start anywhere.
being
They
the
just have to go
same
through all the
thing
block.
is a different question from whether or not it's self-executing, right? So it's not the case that 14A.3 being self-executing has to come before or after holding and running for office, right?
Okay. So we can do this one first. If the Supreme Court wants, they can start right here. That's fine.
They can start
In-
anywhere.
in
I
fact,
honestly
like-
made this chart in this order for you specifically, Waldo, so
Okay.
that we could get
Like-
through textualism first, because I figured
Well-
you'd be like, yes,
well-
yes, yes.
The
Yeah.
self-executing part actually could be before holding and running.
Yeah, I could.
Yeah,
Right.
It's almost certainly going to be in terms
But
of how the Supreme Court's going to
Popog knew I was going to say
Yeah.
yes to all of these, so we should. So he put it that way. That sounds good to me.
Okay.
That sounds
Yeah,
correct. That is good flowchart making. So, what are our opinions on self-executing?
So the reason that I've made the entire argument I have so far
Mhm.
is holding and running are not the same thing. The reason I said that anyone can run for office, right? But only some of them can actually hold it. In the terms of Jefferson Davis, for example, he could run and win as the president. However, after that, the Congress has to decide, is he actually eligible? And then they, with a 2/3 vote, say no or yes. Actually, it's not a 2/3 vote to say no. It's a 2/3 vote to say yes. So if less than 2/3 of the Congress say yes, then he's not eligible.
Okay,
Right.
that sounds
less than 2/3 of either house, actually, right? Like, if one house says, if the House says 2/3 yes, but the Senate says only 1/2 yes, he would be theoretically
that's
still
not
disabled.
That
Right.
will lead to chaos, won't it?
It
So
will,
what?
which is why I don't think that's what the Supreme Court's going to do. But that's not the only solution down at the
Okay.
end of no.
Right,
I don't view
because
chaos as a problem. Not gonna lie.
I would like to have a society. I like society. It's a good thing.
I do too.
Chaos is strong, though. So I mean, if
But
you think about it,
I
I feel the
mean,
warp overtaking me.
It's coming for you, and this is warping your brain right now. I'm reading this flowchart and I'm being warped. So I would like to avoid the chaos by planning things out properly. I'm a
no,
crazy person for suggesting
I
so.
like the chaos because the chaos will find a balance at some point,
The chaos will
right?
harm people. The chaos will cause normal, everyday Americans to vote for a person who then gets told by a congressman that they didn't vote for from California. The Texas person votes for Donald Trump. Donald Trump wins. California senator says no, he's not eligible. That's chaos. That's civil war starting activities right
No,
there.
we're breaking new ground. We must set foundations for this kind of territory.
Great. You and I agree we should set foundations. Why don't we do it before the election?
We are probably
We
going to
haven't.
do it before the election.
We're probably going to do it before
probably
the
are.
We're
election.
probably
Okay.
going to do it before the election.
Okay.
Also, like,
Good.
it's this is stuff that needs to be fleshed out.
Okay.
Because the 14th Amendment is so poorly written.
Okay. It needs flowcharts.
It's good that we're doing this now and not 200 years from now. Let's put it that way.
Okay.
Right?
I don't want to do it 5 minutes after Trump wins.
It would be even, well, you're thinking too short-sighted, right? Like in 200 years, when President Gublak,
he's going to put me into a gulag.
40th term.
Trump's going to put me into a gulag.
No, he's not.
Next year. I'm thinking next year is what I'm thinking.
Trump cannot even spell gulag, so I think you'll probably be
okay.
okay.
I might be exaggerating my own importance, but I got raided today, so I'm kind of a big deal.
What? You got swatted?
No, raided in the Twitch chat. Remember?
Oh,
yeah, gonna get FBI raided later.
I'm kind of a big deal, Thomas. Okay, so we're at 14.3 self-executing. I don't know enough about the law and self-execution, but if the lawyers say no, it's because it wasn't. I mean, it seems self-executing to me, but there's a reason that it's not.
Okay, so the question about self-executing, in particular, the best, I think, representation of what it would mean, and I think the problems with this self-execution are, so I don't know the timeline, but I'm just going to make up times because nobody cares anyway.
Sure.
At 10 a.m., Trump gives his speech, right? Mm-hmm. And that's sort of the end of his overt actions that we would say contribute to his insurrectiony stuff, because after that, he just, like, goes and fucks off in some lounge somewhere, right? Like, he doesn't do anything else after that point.
Mm-hmm.
So that ends at 10:30, right? So at 10:31, then Trump would be considered an insurrectionist. So at that point, he's still president, but theoretically, under the self-execution theory, he's no longer eligible. So he's not president. So Mike Pence is actually president at 10:31. Immediately, with no one saying anything, no one doing anything. Boom, Mike Pence is now magically president, and Donald Trump is not president, which means that if Donald Trump told, some military personnel to go get him a soda, that military personnel could say, no, I'm going to disobey these orders against you. And there's a whole bunch of problems with that in terms of what that would functionally mean. Like, that itself is chaos.
That is fucking crazy.
Only
actually.
if they know it.
Like,
great. Well,
yes.
Only if they're aware of such a thing.
It's true, but we still have to deal with the legal idea of this. If we're treating the theory of self-execution as manifest,
mm-hmm.
It has these implications, and part of the court's reasoning has to deal with, like, okay, what are all the implications of these interpretations and how they work?
Mm-hmm.
And that one, it could mean things like Mike Pence invalidly certified Joe Biden as president because he wasn't vice president when he did that.
All right, it's a Schrodinger's cat situation.
Yes, it's
But Mike Pence doesn't know that an insurrection has happened, so he is ignorant to the fact that Donald Trump is no longer the president, and we can't base this off of common sense. No, we're not allowed to do common sense. This is a law. You're
it's
right.
law. We're
It's
not
law. We're
allowed
not
to do
allowed to do
common
common
sense
sense.
at all.
Yeah. No, that actually, those implications are crazy. I had not even
Yeah.
considered them.
This was the
And
part.
And
in
the idea
and in
that,
not wanting
Joe
to,
Biden
we choose.
couldn't not have been certified as president under the 14th Amendment. Fuck the 14th Amendment, dude.
14th is a pain
Yeah.
in the ass. All right.
So that's the reasoning why it, because the self-executing is the idea that you don't need any process, you don't need any procedure, you don't need anything. It just happens.
Okay.
And that's really hard because of like it's impeachment without any process is like
Yeah.
it doesn't make any sense.
I'm thinking the answer to self-executing has to be no then.
We can't
Yeah.
determine that he was. We can't determine. You said 1031. Yeah, he's no longer the president. We can't just determine that a week later and be like, okay,
Yeah,
from this point on, a week later, because of the insurrection that he
it's
did.
not a week later.
He's
This
not.
this is years later.
Well, I know
And
we're
Mike
years later.
Pence
But that's the
certified
question
an
is,
election.
sure, we can. Why would we do that, though? What is the text which tells us that, oh, yes, 1 week after the insurrection,
'Cause
there's
the
a
1 week is
congressional
when we have the-
hearing?
Okay, so 1 week was the wrong term. Can the Supreme Court? They meet tomorrow, February 18th of 24, and determine that yes, Donald Trump did an insurrection, and from this point on, from February 18th forward, it will be considered an insurrection. And we don't
Yes,
have
but that
to.
means they can, but that means it's not self-executing. That means it's the
They
Supreme
had to
Court's
execute it.
execution.
Okay.
Yes.
So that would mean
So-
it's not a self-execution, which means it goes to no.
Which means someone has to execute it. And
Okay.
the two reasons for this are the textualism of 14A5, which 14A5 says Congress shall have the power to enforce by appropriate legislation the provisions of this article, which sounds an awful lot like it's not self-executing and Congress has to make laws to execute it. They just get the powers to do that from this. And that's frankly an extremely strong textualist argument because that's literally how the entire rest of the Constitution is written. That is how every clause in every part of the Constitution is written to give Congress the powers to make laws, to give the president the powers to do things. Every single part of it is written this way. So the people who argue that no, this part's self-executing, literally it's like the craziest thing. I don't understand. It's as if they've
Okay.
never read any part of the Constitution.
Yeah, it seems not to be because of that. Yeah.
Yeah, and then propositivism is like, hey, this whole thing is about federalism. Probably they wanted Congress to have powers to do stuff because that's what federalism means. So it's almost certainly no. Yes is put in here for posterity.
Just so we can
In case
theorize.
Waldo said yes.
Yeah, I don't think that it is. It seems not to be. Which leads us down this path to no.
And then either no or yes both results in Trump winning.
Right. But,
Yeah, Trump winning pseudo on the yes of this final branch here. It's mixed, which is why it's purple.
right. Do states have jurisdiction? I don't think they do, which is why it's gone up to the Supreme Court anyway. And Trump must be convicted. I mean,
Yeah.
So
Under Colorado law, like ain't
So
happening before the election.
Yeah, that's the difference between. So for this last one of do states have jurisdiction, this argument was made in the oral arguments, and it is stupid and terrible. The Colorado's lawyer said, well, yes, maybe Section 5 does mean it's not self-executing. If you guys want to rule that way, I think it is. But, I'm going to argue my lines of defense for this. And so he's like, okay, if it's not self-executing, Section 5 just says Congress shall have the power. It doesn't say other people also don't have the power.
No.
Which-
Shall means must. Right?
Yeah,
Congress
well,
has the power.
it doesn't say
no.
no.
This
It doesn't
means that
say no one
actually-
doesn't. Yeah.
Yeah, so all three of us right here, we have the power to command the armies of the United States. Just because it says the president has the power doesn't mean that
I don't.
I'm
Waldo,
sorry.
Thomas, and
If
Popoff
I
you
know.
don't have that
That's
power.
the
if you
Colorado's argument. But
specify who has power, it immediately excludes everyone else from having the power. No. That is a bullshit argument.
it's not. It doesn't sound
is-
good. I agree. It doesn't sound good.
It was a very stupid argument, but even if we take it, it only lands us at the place where basically I think because it's not self-executing and we put the power in the hands of some legislature, Congress, or apparently the states, they would need to enact law which enforces that, right? And under the suggestion by Roberts, which I feel like is probably going to have the most support, is that Congress enacted these laws on insurrection,
Mhm.
and Trump needs to be convicted under those laws, which means he has full due process and everything's happy, and it's all decided before the election, and there's no ambiguity. It's like, oh, he has this disability, then Congress can remove whatever, right? Like all that becomes really straightforward if they go on that lane. So that's that one is I think the most likely bubble to be hit.
Okay. This is probably where they're going to start. They're going to hit no. They're going to hit no, and they're going to say he wasn't, and that's going to be their decision. That is fine. I'm saying that's I'm leaving the law now and saying morally we're correct to remove him from the ballots morally, but not legal. Okay. I'm what did I name the thing that it's moral, legal, and backed by the Constitution? It's moral. It's no longer legal. It's not quite backed by the Constitution.
We can go through the rest of the path to see the yes path, because there is a conviction.
I'm interested in.
Can we start right here?
Your moral argument. What's the moral?
He's anti-democracy. He is anti-democracy. He is an authoritarian who has taken away, who will take away people's rights. And I
have a more convincing moral argument for Thomas, I think.
Okay.
Go for it.
It's a pseudo-legal, but I believe that the actions, from the evidence that I have seen, that the things Trump did, not really on January 6th, but leading up to it, of orchestrating the fake electors plot, right? I've seen enough things that I'm like, okay, he has mens rea. He thought that what he was doing was wrong. Any reasonable person would have thought that what they were doing under those circumstances was essentially trying to perpetrate a fraud upon the electoral offices of government, right?
Okay.
That's to me what I've seen. If I was on a jury and that was the charge, was attempting to perpetrate a fraud on electoral offices of government, I would vote guilty at this point based on what I've seen.
Yeah, I would too.
And from that, I think that if you are an elected official or an appointed official, actually, if you have taken an oath of office and you do that, I don't think legally it's true, but I think morally, so we should make a law to do this, that should be treason. Like, to me, that is complete violation of your oath of office to protect the Constitution, right? Like, this is way worse to me than cops like abusing their authority on civilians. Like, this is like a governor stuffing a ballot box to get back in office, right? Like, it morally.
Yeah, it's post ballot counting.
That is a very strong argument,
and that's why I call him anti-democracy.
And I agree with you, actually.
And that's why I'm suggesting morally it's okay.
Okay. Yeah, I'll take that.
And the last bit is treason does not remove your eligibility from the ballot. You can be elected after being convicted of treason, but that's
Also
only true if you're given the wrong punishment for treason. If you're given the right punishment for treason,
which is
the
death penalty.
Well,
yeah. That's the correct. If that's the correct punishment, you can't run anymore.
That gives me a lot to think about. I'll say.
Murder more treason.
Papa wins the
Okay,
stream.
he's winning.
Woo!
So I'm
I have
saying
beaten both Waldo and Thomas. Check it, timestamp it, clip it, chat.
Andy's funnier than me. All right, I'm gonna stop bringing you on. No, I'm just kidding. So to the title of the stream, which is on the screen on your screen if you're watching, barring Trump from the ballots is moral. I think yes. Is it legal? No, but because the law is written poorly, as I think we all agree that the 14th sucks, and backed by the Constitution. No, not really. It's only backed by the Constitution in a perpisivist stance, but not in a literal textual or originalist stance, because again, the 14th sucks. So, okay, I hate it. Thanks.
You're welcome.
All this goes back to the 14th sucks.
The 14th sucks, and that is
It's not a great amendment.
it's the place that we all come to together. We've built some bridges. We've burned some bridges. We've built some more, and the answer is the 14th Amendment is poorly written and sucks. And damn it. Ugh. Okay.
Yeah, we all feel better for it now.
And now we all feel better.
I will say that Trump was never convicted of treason.
It's
No,
true. I mean,
he wasn't.
I don't think he will be convicted of treason because his actions don't follow specifically what current definitions of treason are. Right, the current treason law does not have anything to cover any of the things that he did. You could say like
Nothing about
maybe
Twitter.
break.
I mean, perpetrating fraud against the elected offices and whatnot. I don't think technically.
Yeah, it
falls
definitely
under
does not.
treason.
I can
Right.
agree
Fall
with
under
I can agree with you there,
Right.
Thomas.
So
The fake electors, it isn't quite treason because there's
following your logic, yes. If that did fall under treason, the penalty is death. But I don't think that we could reasonably give that penalty.
I would agree
I think it would be a hard sell at the moment.
It'd
but
be a
you know,
really
it could also
fucking hard
be
sell, especially legally.
$5,000 fine and 3 years in jail. Those are the other options for treason or whatever.
Right.
Okay. So I can agree with that. He didn't commit treason when creating those fake electors. He's still doing election fraud.
And if he didn't commit treason, then under Article 14, he is still eligible, like as we've read it so far.
Yep. Even if he did commit treason, he'd still be eligible under.
And morally speaking, yes, I will agree. Morally, he is probably not eligible.
Okay, so now we're down to only one of the three.
Well, but legally and constitutionally,
it's far more important. Yes, that's more important in the courts.
That's only on the morally in the terms of, do I think that Trump is a moral agent? No. But
to be fair, I don't think that this has changed that stance, right? Like that's
I have told you many times I don't like Trump.
Yeah. Yeah, I never thought
he's just what we have.
You were
right
one
now.
of his supporters.
Right.
It's just this.
So
yeah.
So I don't like Trump, but I don't like a lot of people, and I do think that they are eligible to run, right? So
okay. All right.
Trump can run. I just
throw your vote away to a third party, right?
It's just morally bankrupt. Okay. Let's wrap this up before we move on to the next headline. We're almost in agreement that morally he shouldn't be breaking election law and sending fake electors. That's a bad thing. But legally and constitutionally, those actions don't prevent him from running and don't remove him from the ballot.
Right.
Okay. Well, then I guess I just make moral arguments for the next 9 months or so, suggesting that anybody who's supporting Trump is morally incorrect.
As long as they're strong, because that's what the rest of the media does, and it does one of two things: either people agree with you,
Mhm.
or the people that don't agree with you, they bristle and become more determined to vote against what you're preaching.
Which is why I don't think that any of the Trump's a racist, Trump's a what, like, I don't think any of that is a good stance, because I think it's too partisanly unprincipled.
Exactly. It's one of those things. It's like when Trump made his very first speech when he announced his candidacy for president, right?
Mhm.
They came out swinging. They were like, he called Mexicans whatever, and it's like, no, he did not.
Yeah, there have been too much lying about what,
Yes,
like,
there was
exaggerating
the
what he said.
people bristled against the framing of what he said and the out of context of what he said and whatnot, and it actually backfired against the anti-Trumpers, and people voted for Trump as a result of the media framing him as a racist when what he said was not actually racist.
And I think it's what's going to cause people to not care about the election fraud stuff, is because they're like, well, you're also trying to get him on a campaign finance violation, which is complete bullshit, right? You're also trying to get him on all these other things, which are like, even the documents one is like, what he did isn't that bad. He's acting really guilty. So, like, I get why, but, like, I don't care that much about it as much as I care about the election fraud. Like, the documents thing, Hillary did it, Biden did it, they all do it, and Trump acts like a guilty mobster all the time.
He acts worse afterward. Yeah, he denies the subpoenas. He tells them he gave them everything, and he literally lies to them. So, yeah, of course I get it.
He sends people down to hide shit. Like,
tells people to go hide that shit because he wants to keep it. He's not being what you call I forget the word.
He acts like a guilty motherfucker. Right?
He is not complying with the court that's telling him what to do, and he's denying the subpoenas and shit like that. So it looks worse, and then that compounds. And when if a court tells you to do a thing and then you do it, okay. If a court tells you to do a thing and then you tell them to fuck off and attack them and call them names on Twitter, all of a sudden shit starts to amp up. The cops don't back down. They ramp up.
It's true, but I don't think that the Democratic strategy should be to amp up the court and wave that flag, because waving all of those flags distracts from what I think is the only real legitimate fuck this dude, which I got lost in. For the last 2 years, I did not understand the extent of the evidence and what the actual actions he undertook were for the fake elector stuff.
And you're suggesting that it is more substantive than the media has made it to be.
I think it is, for me, like I said, that thing is completely morally disqualifying. All the Jan 6 stuff with he's an insurrectionist. It's like, he gave a speech. People broke the law after the speech. Nothing in the speech says go storm the Capitol. It's a really hard sell for me for
I view the fake electors thing as a way different thing from the January 6th insurrection thing.
Yeah, 100%. They're
that's not
night and day.
It was all part of the same plan. Planned by the same people.
Yes, but the Jan 6 stuff doesn't really fit the actual plan. The Jan 6 stuff is pretty clearly Trump's. He knows the plan hasn't worked, and it's his last desperate attempt at popular support.
Okay.
Right? It as far as I can tell from reading the stuff, the Jan 6th rally was maybe vaguely related, but not actually a part of the plan.
Okay.
And it storming the Capitol does not, from anything I've seen, that Trump did not intend for people to do that. Right? That he intended for them to protest in crowds, and he was hoping for way more people, and then maybe something would happen, a miracle occurs, and he's still president.
Some of his
But as far
staff
as
were talking about stopping that count. Some of those Republicans were talking about not allowing the count to happen. If Mike Pence does Trump talked about Mike Pence having courage and doing the right thing, and that right thing
yes,
is don't count the electoral votes.
yes, but I don't think that like those actions, as far as I can tell, are protected under the Brandenburg test, right? That Trump still has significant free speech rights, and unless he is directly, like provably causing lawless imminent action, right?
Won't someone kill this
Where
Won't someone rid me of this meddlesome priest? Is that the area we're in?
You'd have to be somewhere like that, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. The king looks up to God and says, "Won't someone rid me of this meddlesome priest?" And then a guard walks out of the room, kills the priest, and comes back. Did the king order it?
In that case, yes, because it would be
maybe
foreseeable, and
but you'd have to
whatever.
argue that, and then there's an argument for no, he didn't order that.
Yeah,
he was talking to God. He was praying. It's God who killed him. Okay. So that is a terrible mess, and I think that we have run it around for a very long time.
True.
Any final thoughts on the Trump barring from things before we move on to the next thing?
Nothing from
Nope.
me.
But I think that's all the time I have for today. So thanks for having me on stream.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
Thanks for
Always
coming,
happy to be
Papa.
your legal correspondent.
That was Popog, our senior legal correspondent. I really appreciate you coming by. Thanks for being here. Thanks for participating in the Discord. If you are listening, if you are watching, and you want to talk to us about such cool things like that, you can go to the Discord. It's right there. There's the link. You can look at it. You can click on it. You can send us stuff. You can look at Popog's amazing flowcharts.
Hey, if you show us, like Popog, that you are a cool guy with great arguments, you might end up on the stream.
Yes, indeed. If you're in the Discord proving that you're a decent person, doing good faith arguments, then we can bring you on the stream too. So, something to look forward to.
I remember back a couple streams ago, we told Popog he couldn't come on.
Right, and that made sense.
And then I made flowcharts, and I got
and then
on.
he made flowcharts, and
Exactly.
then he showed us to be a good person.
Come participate.
He didn't scream the N-word in the Discord, so we let him on. See?
There it is. Hey, thanks, Popog.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thanks for having me. See ya. I'll catch the rest of the stream.
Goodbye.
And I need to take like a 2-minute break real quick.
Yeah. Totally fine.
Right.
I'll do the streamer thing where I tell everybody to like the stream, click the thumbs up, do a follow, turn a frog gay. If you become a follower, you turn a frog gay. It happens. It's what happens. I don't control it. It's just a natural process. Every time you click the follow button, you turn another frog gay. So if you would like to do that, if you would like to become a follower and stuff like that, click the follow button, click the thumbs up buttons, go to the YouTube link, go watch the videos afterward. Because what happens is that I live stream all the things, and then I chop them up, take out all the uhs and the ands and the noises, and then post them up on YouTube so you can watch there as well. Become a subscriber, and then make the algorithm like me. And once the algorithm likes me, then there's more people to talk to, and then there's more stuff, and then KBP can flex all his points in chat to even more people, because that's what matters, is having a lot of points, as KBP does. He doesn't have any pawns, though. He has points. He has 7,000 points, and he needs people to know that. He needs more people in this chat so that he can point mog on them, so that he can point flex. Okay? He's flexing to 6 people right now, and that's not enough people. He needs more people to flex on. And if he flexes on more people, it will make him more happy, and then more people will be here, and then they'll all start point flexing. It'll be a whole thing. Well, this is future eternal growth forever. That's the plan. Waldo and Thomas for 1,000 years. Okay, so that is the plan. Hopefully, people will see it and do it and click on the buttons. what else do we have to talk about today? We've got a couple more headlines to talk about today. It's already 11:35. That one took a little while, so we might cover some of the big things. Thomas and I will look at the big things, look at the headlines, see if there's anything cool going on. If you have a headline and you want to talk about it, toss it into the Discord. If you want to argue with us, do so in the Discord. If you want to comment in the videos, do that too. I read all of those. I think I have a YouTube a email, but I don't like check it or read it. So hop into the Discord if you want to talk about anything, and that is the plan. What we do is I generally stream Monday nights at 7 PST, West Coast, Best Coast, West Coast time, and then Wednesdays at 7, and then Saturday mornings at about 10. Usually Thomas is on the Saturday ones, and that we
Okay.
get. Okay, cool. Then that way we get Thomas's opinion, usually on Saturdays, not every Saturday, but usually on Saturdays. So, how about some more headlines, Thomas?
Sounds good to me.
Okay, we're going to pop over here. We're going to take that away, and we're going to click on. No, not that, not that, not that. This one. FBI informant charged with lying about Joe and Hunter Biden's ties to Ukrainian energy company. The Republican witness to Joe Biden's multi-million-dollar bribery scheme has lied. Alexander Smirnov falsely reported to the FBI in June 2020 that executives associated with the Ukrainian energy company Burisma paid Hunter and Joe Biden $5 million each. Prosecutor said in an indictment, Smirnov told his handler that an executive claimed to have hired Hunter Biden to protect us through his dad from all kinds of problems, according to the court documents. Smirnov, in fact, had only routine business dealings with the company in 2017 and made the bribery allegations after he expressed bias against Joe Biden while he was a presidential candidate. Smirnov seems to be not a good witness because he's lying.
You know, after he filed his allegations and whatnot, I bet you he went to Joe and Hunter Biden, and you know what he said? He said, "You've been iced." Oh God.
He been Smirnoff iced. You know, do they even make that shit anymore? That's late 90s, or was it early 2000s beer for
I saw his
girls.
name. I had to make the joke.
Smirnoff Ice. They still make vodka, if I remember. Smirnoff, you can still buy Smirnoff vodka, but the Smirnoff
They do,
Ices,
yes.
I don't think they make those anymore. It was booze for girls because whiskey tastes bad.
I mean, the ices were still around as recently as 2014 when I last saw.
Yeah.
So.
That was a decade ago. Thomas, listen.
Fuck.
You're old.
I'm so old.
You're old.
I know. I just had my birthday recently. That's why I'm hungover. And I'm fucking old.
How many Smirnoff Ices would it take you to get you drunk?
A lot.
A lot, because they're
Actually.
they're like 3% or something like that. They're way down there. Okay. You said ice, and I was like, what? Like
You've been
Border
iced,
Patrol?
baby.
Border Patrol? What are we talking about? Okay, so this is not a surprise to me.
Thank you.
It seems like the Republicans are just making shit up. The allegation is all that matters. This is what I say about the House Republicans, is that the allegation is all that matters. They don't care if it's true. They don't care if it's that Smirnoff is making false statements. They don't care. They just need the allegation.
In terms of media propaganda, etc., right?
Right. Because the Republicans don't win in court. They win in the media. And we got another follower who just turned a frog gay. Super cool. I appreciate you. Thank you for turning another frog gay.
That goes both ways, though. I mean,
no, I don't think
Donald
it does.
Trump doesn't have to have actually sexually assaulted someone. He just has to allegedly have done so.
It was proven in court.
No, it wasn't.
It was proven It's a civil thing. I don't want to bring Popog again to discuss legal versus civil, but in this situation, Donald Trump has been credibly accused of corruption. He has many ongoing court cases, and in the Republicans, rather than determining a good candidate with good ideas on how to move forward, they just attack the other side in a stunt. Because again, stunt-based everything. This is their entire platform now. Stunts. They need to impeach Biden. They need to impeach Biden. They need to impeach Biden. This is their brain because they're dumb. Donald Trump got impeached twice.
Accused, but
he got impeached twice, right? So we need to impeach Biden. I know you don't like her, but Marjorie Taylor Greene, good old Maytag, accused Joe Biden of doing an insurrection on January 20th of 2020 because she doesn't know what the word means. She doesn't know what insurrection means because she's stupid. When the media says Donald Trump did an insurrection, she says, "Oh, Joe Biden did an insurrection."
Well, so in terms of media, right? When she says that, when she says Joe Biden committed an insurrection on January 20th, a media outlet could reasonably refer to Joe Biden at that point. I think unreasonably, but they could do this. They could refer to Joe Biden as an accused insurrectionist. Could they not?
No, that's insane.
I mean, he has been accused of insurrection.
Because that's all that matters. That's all that matters to the Republicans is the accusation. That's what I'm saying. They don't have plans for the future. They don't have plans for governing. They have accusations, and that's all they will do. Start from that point. I think Joe Biden did an insurrection, and then work backward to find out how he did the insurrection, and then you work backward to find the evidence. And if a man named Smirnov comes up to you with fake evidence, you don't care. You accept it and say, obviously this is true evidence because I've already come to the conclusion that Joe Biden did these things. Republicans work backwards.
Do you remember the 2016 Donald Trump dossier?
Which was, that's the Steele dossier again? The Steele dossier entirely could have been someone working backwards from the point of, hey, this is a true thing, let's move backwards to find some evidence, and then they move backwards again to find, testimony, and the testimony is fake. Yes, that's probably what happened there.
So it happens on both sides.
Yeah, right? And one side does it loudly and has an entire TV station devoted to it.
Are you fucking kidding me? Stop.
Both sides do it, and one side does it once, and one side does it 100 times. That's what I'm telling
you. Once?
Yes, once and 100.
I'm providing you with one example right now,
yes.
One egregious one.
Yes, that's what I'm telling you, and the Republicans do it 100 times more. 100 times more.
The Steele dossier was way worse than anything you
No, it's not.
Tell me right now.
Who's gone to jail for the Steele dossier? Nobody, because it's nothing. It is exactly the way you are right. It is a bad thing, and you should not build your entire political campaign off of it, and nobody did.
No.
Nobody did.
The FBI literally got warrants and whatnot as a result of the Steele dossier.
Right, and they did a bad job. They started with the end point. Someone created that Steele dossier with the end
Steele
point
dossier was
in mind.
Way worse than Marjorie Taylor Greene going, Joe Biden did an insurrection on January 20th.
I can agree to that.
Steele dossier, way worse.
That sentence is correct.
And every single news outlet reported on the Steele dossier as if it was true.
Okay, great. Are they in elected official right now? Is anybody pushing this Steele dossier as true reality facts that need to be talked about? No. Only
your point
the
was
Republicans,
that the
when
Republicans
they lose
and the
an
media,
argument.
They push these things.
Yes, Republicans push
unsubstantiated
horse shit. Yes, they do.
But guess what?
Based on dishonest, uncredible allegations. Yes.
Well, I just pointed to a way worse
No, you
Way
pointed
worse.
to yes, from
Example.
2015. You had to go that far back. I'm looking at this shit
So what?
right now today. Yes, the Steele dossier is bad, and it was bad in 2015 when it came out. Move on. So this is bad too. This Smirnoff thing based on dishonest, uncredible allegations and witnesses, just
Well,
like the
no.
Steele dossier.
I agree
Great.
that it's bad.
Okay, great.
It's all bad. But
Is
you
somebody
painted this
are
as a
the
thing that
Dems?
Republicans
Yes,
do.
they do it all the time.
No,
They do it every
stop.
fucking week. They do it every week. They do it every day, and they will never, never
So
go
silly.
back on it. I'm telling you that if in 2015 I had a channel, I didn't, but if I did, and I pushed the Steele dossier, and then it was proven to be based on dishonest, uncredible allegations and witnesses, I would change my mind and I would go back on it. And I would say, you guys, listen, this is bad. Is the House of Representatives, is Maytag, is, what's his name, Pastor Mike Johnson, going to go back on their impeachment inquiry? No. They will never do so.
Probably
They will
not,
claim it to
but
be
again,
true forever
that's
because
fine.
they're worse.
I don't. Hold on. I don't. You already acknowledged. I don't claim MTG
I know,
as one of my own.
but
But-
she's on the team that you
Hold
keep
on.
voting for.
But then you were like, Republicans do this. No. Marjorie Taylor Greene is an extremist from a Republican standpoint. Like she's
No,
further to the right than the average.
she's not an extremist. She's further to the right, I agree. But the extreme right is Twitter Nazis, right? Like those are the extremists. At the point we're standing at right now, I think that yes, Marjorie Taylor Greene is an outlier. She is further to the right than you are. She is further to the right. She is she's farther away from reality than you are. I agree. She is farther away from reality than the common, normal Republican person.
Okay.
But she's still a part of the team. She's still in the headlines because she's saying the crazy crap. She gets news by doing so, by doing these stunts, by saying that Joe Biden did an insurrection on January 20th. She gets headlines. That's why I notice her, because she keeps doing crazy things and stunts, and then the people have to be okay with the stunts to continue to support her.
Yeah, I think that Marjorie Taylor Greene should not be elected again. But
Okay.
Guess what?
She's gonna be. Or
people
what?
are responsible for who they elect.
Right, and those people are being fed horse shit from Republicans. They're being fed horse shit from her. Maytag is giving them false information, and then they believe it because they want to, because belief is the problem. They want to believe it. They started from the end point. Joe Biden's a crook. Move backward. Let's investigate. Move backward again. Here's some evidence. When that goes wrong, and it has literally gone wrong right here. We started from the end point. Impeach Joe Biden. What are we going to impeach him for? We have to move backwards. We're going to have to find a thing that he did. Here we investigated. We found something that's kind of crooked. Then we move backward again and start finding someone who witnessed it and saw it so that they can prove our conclusion that we've already come to. And the conclusion, and it seems to be based on dishonest, uncredible allegations and witnesses. Does Marjorie Taylor Greene, do the people who are in charge of the House of Representatives right now accept this as fact? No, they don't. They will ignore it. They will deny it because the allegation is all they needed. Facts be damned, they need the allegations. That's how they operate. And that is a worse way to operate than the Dems, which is why I vote for Dems.
So silly.
How is that silly? One way is worse.
The argument in the first place is silly. I mean,
that one side can be worse than the other? That's the argument I'm making, that one side is literally worse than the other. I'm not saying that one side is perfect. I'm saying one side is worse than the other.
in what domain?
reality, facts, logic,
Yeah, totally silly.
the things that happen that I see happening. Uh, who lies more often? Republicans. Who denies reality more often? Republicans. Does that mean that the Dems don't lie and distort reality? No, of course they do. They just do it less often.
No, I don't think so.
There's another news thing every day about how the Republicans are not true. They're not telling the truth. They're lying.
Well, yes, if you read the Huffington Post
This is
and
the Associated
BuzzFeed
Press.
every day,
This
you'll
is
get a new
right,
piece on
because those
Republicans.
things are
Yes.
reporting reality. They're telling you what's happening, and what's happening is that Republicans are lying often. I'm telling you, that's reality. Republicans are lying often, and so often that the people on the news report it, and then it gets reported, and the Republicans and then the online people who want to believe will believe whatever they want, because belief is the problem, I think.
You're very convicted in the idea that the news outlets that you follow are credible.
And that's an excellent argument. Have you got any suggestion, any evidence that those people are not credible, but the Republicans are?
No,
Because it doesn't
I don't.
exist.
Hold on. I don't count any of these sources as fully credible. I don't count Fox News as credible. I don't count the AP as credible. I don't count CNN as credible.
Mm-hmm.
I don't count anyone as credible, but I look at what they're saying.
Mm-hmm.
And after I look at what they're saying, I try to find out the actual facts and then come to a decision.
Okay, cool.
Why would I just listen to what the Huffington Post's, third editor or whatever, what their opinion is? I can read that, pick out where they've actually told me a fact about something versus what their opinion is, and then come to a conclusion myself. Why would I do that rather than trusting those outlets?
You're
Or rather, why would I trust those outlets rather than coming to my own conclusions?
Why would you continue to vote for someone who continues to lie to you? Is Mike Johnson, head of the Speaker of the House, going to continue to complain about Joe Biden and Burisma? Is Donald Trump going to tell you, look directly into a camera and say that Hunter Biden is a criminal and everything they did with Burisma is criminal? They are going to do that. Are they lying when they do so? It sure the hell looks like they're lying.
Well, part of it is lying, because Hunter Biden is a criminal.
He's shady, but if he could be convicted, they would convict him, but they can't. They literally can't convict him because he hasn't broken the laws. He hasn't
done cocaine?
Yes, he has.
There aren't pictures of him.
He has done that. Yes. Convict him for that. By all means. But he did this Burisma shit.
Definitionally speaking, yes, he is a criminal.
Great, he's a criminal. Is the Burisma shit criminal?
I don't know. I haven't looked into it enough.
It seems not to be. The FBI cannot convict him on it. They can't get to the point where he's broken any laws. The people who are saying that it's illegal keep turning out to be liars. But that will not stop the Republicans and Donald Trump and the Speaker of the House and every single Republican from saying that it is true.
My understanding of Burisma is that it's one of those things that they're saying that Burisma is a bribery operation, right?
They're saying it's a selling of influence, which again,
bribery
is
right.
Well, no, not quite. Influence peddling is what they're suggesting. He is an important guy. His name is Biden, and when we need help with our tax problems, when we need some sort of favors, maybe we can ask him, and then maybe Joe Biden can help us out. It's influence peddling. It's illegal lobbying. Honestly, it's
Well,
illegal lobbying.
legally speaking, I'm gonna take us back
Mhm.
10 years real quick.
Mhm.
And Hillary Clinton should have been in jail for what she did.
This is the problem, boss. This is the problem. You're saying a thing that is not correct right now.
It is correct.
No, the FBI has decided that she cannot be prosecuted and that the jury would find her not guilty, and so they didn't press charges. That's the truth. That's the reality.
Oh, well,
but
hold
you
on a second. Now
deny
you've
reality.
contradicted yourself.
You're denying reality.
You have contradicted yourself.
How do you think so?
Because you've used the standard of evidence for Joe and Hunter Biden being corrupt as a shield. And now, when I say Hillary committed a crime, you're using the same standard of evidence as a sword. It doesn't go both ways. It is or it isn't. Now, I can tell you,
Mhm.
I do believe that if I did the same thing that Hillary Clinton did with that private server, I would be in jail right now
I think you're wrong.
at Fort Leavenworth.
I
No.
think you're wrong. This is a belief
Bull
that you
fucking
have
shit.
because you have come to a conclusion that Hillary Clinton is crooked. Yes, is she crooked? Yes, she's a politician. All politicians are a little bit crooked. Hillary's this much crooked. Donald Trump is this much crooked. So I have to make the decision to choose this much crooked or that much. And I have to choose this much crooked. And I don't think I'm a crazy person for suggesting such.
What are you? Say it again. Say it
Okay.
again.
Donald Trump, far more crooked than Hillary Clinton. And
Don't
when
care.
you don't care, so who are you going to vote for?
I'm pointing out
The one you like better.
No. I'm pointing out the discrepancy between your current argument about Hunter and Joe Biden.
Okay, let's
And
stick to Hunter and Joe
the
Biden and not bring up
fact-
Hillary then.
No.
Well,
It's comparison.
when I bring I bring up
Clinton-
a comparison.
I brought up the comparison.
Right, and then I told you, and then we got off topic, and now we're arguing about Hillary.
Well,
which generally
you're
it
saying that
happened with the Steele
you don't-
dossier 20 minutes ago.
Hold on. Are we in agreement that a person that transmits top secret classified information on a private server, which was hacked by foreign powers, should be in jail?
If you can prove that it was with intent and the you
I don't
put
care
it
about the
if you
intent.
bring
They
it
did
to a court and the court says yes, this is a crime, and then the court proves it's a crime, then they should go to jail. The court could not do that.
Wait.
The court couldn't
You're
do that.
saying that the law enforcement officers have to bring it to a court in order for it to be a crime?
It's not a crime until it's processed through the system.
Are you fucking kidding?
How am I? What?
So
Running
okay,
a red
in
light
San
isn't a
Francisco
crime because
right
nobody
now-
caught you. If
in
you
San
run a red
Francisco
light,
right
nobody
now,
catches you.
if
It's not a
you
crime.
break into some, are you kidding me? No,
it's morally
if someone-
incorrect. I'm not saying
Stop.
it's okay to do. It's
If
morally
someone
incorrect to
breaks
run that red
into
light.
my car in San Francisco
hmm
and they steal some shit out of my back seat, they
Morally
broke my
incorrect.
window to do it.
I do not want
they
them to
took
do
it.
so. This is a
The
bad
cops
action. A bad person.
refused to go catch them. Did they commit a crime or not?
This refuse to go catch them is made up Republican nonsense.
No.
It
It's
is.
not though.
It's made
It's
up
not.
Republican nonsense.
No, I've lived there.
Okay, so
It's not
now
made up.
again we're changing what we're talking about.
No, we're not. No,
you brought
I'm
up
playing-
you brought up four
I'm
different
asking you something that's
situations.
relevant to what you argued.
Is
If
it a
law enforcement refuses to go after a criminal or prosecute their crime, is it still a crime to do it?
it's not a crime at that point. No.
So
Because
breaking into my car and stealing my shit was not a crime because the cops said, no, we're not going to go look for this guy.
No, they didn't say they were not going to. Okay.
Or even if they cut the guy.
If it
No,
doesn't
we're
make
not
it to
gonna
court, it's
prosecute.
not a crime. It can be offensive. It can be morally incorrect. It can be a bad idea. It can be done by a bad person with bad attitude and a fucking incorrect moral stance.
What is a crime to you?
A
then?
crime is when the fucking court gets involved.
No. That's a prosecution. That's a
Right. They prosecute crimes. Right.
Yes,
It's
the
not a crime
crimes
until
happen
then.
first,
And
and
if they
then they
decide,
prosecute the crime.
and if they
Right?
decide that the
The
crime cannot be
crime
prosecuted,
happens
it's
when
not a
some.
crime. It's not a
It is a
crime.
crime.
It's not.
It is.
No, it's not.
Yes.
No, it's not. It is it is morally incorrect, but it hasn't gone up to the level of crime. I can do all kinds of morally incorrect things that aren't crimes.
You're full of fucking shit.
How am I full of shit?
Okay. Has Donald Trump been convicted of insurrection?
No.
Has he been involved in insurrection?
Yes.
There you fucking go.
He's involved morally. We just an hour ago we came to the conclusion that he is morally and not legally responsible for that shit, which is consistent with my moral stance on your car getting broken into. The person who broke into your car is morally incorrect. If the court decides that they will not prosecute that, which I can't imagine how they would, but they can't find the right person, searching for that
Your
person
own
is
chat.
far more thing. It's not a crime.
Your chat is disagreeing with you.
That
You
happens
can
all the
commit a
time.
crime and not get caught. It's still a crime.
No,
Done.
it's
Yes, it
morally
is.
incorrect.
No, it's a
if the
crime.
court isn't
You literally
involved,
broke
I
the
don't
law.
think it's crime at that point.
Just the fact that Hillary was not prosecuted by the FBI because they thought it wasn't reasonable to prosecute because you couldn't prove beyond a reasonable doubt her guilt.
So if you can't prove beyond a reasonable doubt, then they didn't commit a crime, boss. Why am I a crazy person for suggesting such? If you cannot prove beyond a reasonable doubt that guy broke into your car and stole your stuff, he didn't commit a crime.
Know what? I'm gonna let you just.
I'll
You
say
can just
it
own that
again.
one.
I'll say it
for it.
again. I'll look right down the barrel. If the court can't
Yeah.
prove beyond a reasonable doubt that you did the thing, you didn't commit a crime.
It's only committing a crime if you get caught and prosecuted for it.
No,
Right.
it's right. If not, you didn't commit the crime. You're not guilty of such a thing.
I drove drunk, didn't get caught, didn't commit
Not
a
a
crime.
crime. It's morally incorrect, but it is not a crime. Until I
You're
think
wrong.
the thing gets we've got a seems like I have a bad definition of crime. Maybe I have a
It's
bad definition
terrible.
of crime.
Yeah.
Should we have a different word for it? You've done a morally bad thing, but the court can't hold you responsible for it?
Definition of crime. Noun. 1. An act committed in violation of law.
Great!
2. Unlawful activity.
Unlawful activity. Where does law exist? Only in the court and in society. Yes, great. Laws aren't real things. They're real. Okay, what am I trying to get at? If a tree falls in the woods and it does it make a sound? We're getting into that level of absurdity. I know I'm being absurd here, but the suggestion that I'm making is you can do immoral things, but unless you have been brought up in a court of law and they found you guilty, you haven't done a crime. You haven't been convicted of a crime. Fine, great. I'll change my my wording. Was Hillary convicted of the Cerberus ship?
No.
All right, everybody's mad at me. That's okay. So Hillary wasn't
Yeah,
convicted of a
because
crime.
you're wrong.
Okay, Hillary wasn't convicted of a crime. That's what fucking matters.
Neither was Donald Trump.
Donald Trump wasn't convicted of insurrection yet. I can still say he's morally on the hook for such a thing. I can say he's a moral bad guy for the choices that he does. And usually that's what I do. I do usually cover the morality of it.
Now here's the problem: is we were talking about media.
Right. I know. We've gone way off field. The people who have said that Joe Biden is guilty of these crimes have been proven to be liars. That's the point I'm trying to get to. The FBI hasn't been convicted either, but I'm saying morally he's a liar. Popok, yeah, you're right. So if your witness is charged with being a liar, does that change how you talk about it? Of course it should, but will it change from the Maytags, from Pastor Mike Johnson, and from Donald Trump? No. It won't. They will continue to insinuate that it's true.
I won't say morally that I agree with them on that topic then. I mean,
Great. And they're still going to get your vote. And they're still going to be voted for by people who believe that Joe Biden is a criminal. Because they want to believe it. They want it to be true. And in wanting it to be true, they will pick and choose whichever evidence they want. And they will follow the people like Maytag who tell them what they want to hear. And because I think that happens more often on the Republican side than it does on the left, I have to vote for the left.
I think you have the wrong reasons for voting then.
It's a lesser evil voting, yes.
Well, no, I think that the left's policies are worse for the country than the right's. Like,
Okay, we're not talking policy, boss. We're talking attitudes right now. We're talking one side
well,
continues
no.
to lie. I do
You
think
said
that their policies are better on the
that
left.
as a result of the perceived lie by one side versus the other, you have to vote for one side.
Right, and that's one. Well, okay, I'll rephrase. That's one of the reasons why I would vote left rather than right. That is not the only reason. It is not. I am not a one-issue voter. I look at a lot of different things, and one of those main important things is they seem to lie a lot. Why do I have that perception? I am perceiving right now. I'm not being factual. I'm being perceptive. I'm rolling my d20 on a perception roll, and I got a nat 20. I really did. It's lit up. Look at it. It's glowing. And I have come to the conclusion through looking at the media and stuff like that the right wing lies a lot more often than the left. How did I get to that point? That is the perception that I have. Why do I have that perception?
Someone told you that.
Someone told me that?
Yeah.
I
don't think they do.
I looked at
each
objective
side's media
reality.
lies
I looked
the
at
same
objective
rate.
reality, and I have come to the conclusion that the right lies a lot more than the left. Am I
As
incorrect?
Malsavian says, plenty of people on the right have the perception that the left lies a lot more.
Yes, they do.
And you're on the left, and you say that the right lies a lot more. I would say they probably lie at a similar rate. Which is why I say, take the information in,
Mm-hmm.
come to your own conclusions.
I did
But you
that.
must,
And
hold
it's
on.
that the right lies
but
more often.
you must, okay, but you must recognize where the bias exists, right? Every time you link me a post from like the Huffington Post or
I don't ever go to the
whatnot.
Huffington Post. I start with the AP. What do I have on the screen right now? I have the what is this? This is Daily Beast. They're pretty left-leaning. I know they are.
They're practically the Huffington Post.
I have the AP.
If I go to our private Streamlinks channel,
Yeah.
2 links up is the HuffPost from what you've sent me.
Okay. Does that mean that they're liars?
And then 2 more links up is the Daily Beast. And it doesn't mean they're liars that you linked them to me.
No, does it mean that they're saying things that are lies? I think they're telling you the truth and you're rejecting reality. I think the right wing rejects reality.
I don't think so. And in fact, I think that you are being lied to by your media sources.
Okay.
Because you remember when we were talking about the don't say gay law and all the stuff happening in Florida,
Mm-hmm.
and I pulled up the actual text of the law that was being passed, and it did not say what the links told you it said. Remember that?
I remember this happening, and I remember the here's what the law says. Law says XYZ. It's written down in black and ink. How are they going to use it was what the people were reporting on. They were saying, if we do that, then this will happen. They were making predictions.
They think.
And those predictions are predicting things is hard, especially the future. I make predictions all the time. I went on a rant this morning just about what Donald Trump
That's
will
fine.
do.
I have made predictions too.
Okay.
I've bet you money on my predictions. But that is not the same thing as announcing a prediction and saying, here is how I think this is going to happen, and being a reporter at a news outlet
Mhm.
and saying, this is what is going to happen if this passes. Or this
I could
is
agree with that.
what that law says or does. Not the same thing.
I'm willing to bet that they put the word could in there one time,
Mm.
and it negates your entire argument. You type the word, if this bill passes, it could murder all the trans people.
If
the word
could in that sentence is replaced with will.
I agree. It changes the intent entirely. If those are two different sentences, I agree. And a news media who uses the word will instead of could is predicting things that might go wrong, and hopefully they would not do such a thing. In my looking at reality, looking at politics, paying attention, reading things from the internet, it seems to me that the right wing is not interested in reality. They are detached from such because of their beliefs.
Okay, I think the left is detached from reality.
Based on their beliefs as well?
Sure.
Okay. Maybe we'll...
Where does that get us?
I don't know. I'm thinking right now, that's what I'm thinking. Where does that get us? Let's look at chat. Let's see. Popok says, would you say the most common lies from the left from the Democrats? So what are the most common lies from the left of the Democrats? I think, I don't know. What does the left lie about? They exaggerate sometimes climate change. They exaggerate the perfection of Hillary Clinton. I think they exaggerate the amount of what was it? They exaggerated over the Mueller report, and they exaggerated, as you mentioned, the Steele dossier. Are both sides suffering from the same problems with different flavors? Maybe, but I think one side is far worse. Are there lies from the right? Yes, and I think they're more blatant and obvious, and more
Only because
willing.
they're looking for them.
Because they stand out as
Because
far more illegal. Well, not illegal. They stand out as far more incorrect. Spinning. Is spinning different than straight up lying?
Is spinning different from straight up lying? I would say it's a different flavor of lying.
Okay.
Spinning is taking a fact
mm-hmm.
and then putting an opinion on that fact. That's why I don't take everything at face value in the reporting of a topic from either side.
Okay, and because it could be spun, and you could then be misinformed because you believed the spin.
Right. If you believe the spin, you're buying into a particular argument, right?
Okay, but like that's how everything works, isn't it?
No.
That entire Popog chart could have been spin if you are using a certain definition.
All right.
Buying into specific arguments. I mean, originalist arguments are spin.
Right.
Uh-huh.
Or three. Let's say three. One of them is purely factual.
Mm-hmm. PBS. Purely factual.
I disagree, but
I know you do.
purely factual. So, the facts of a scenario are John and Sally met up
Mhm.
on the street.
Mhm.
Sally brought her dog.
Mhm.
The dog barked at John and tried to bite him.
Mhm.
And as a response to the attempted bite, John kicked the dog and backed away in self-defense.
Okay.
Now, one media outlet can paint John as the bad guy. John kicked the dog. Man kicks dog. Bad story. Look, makes John look real bad.
Because he didn't do the kicking.
Well, John
Because it's
did do the
factually.
kicking.
Oh, he did do the kicking. Okay. So if you
Yeah.
look at it from a
Factually
certain,
speaking, the dog tried to bite John.
Mhm.
John kicked the dog and backed away
Mhm.
in self-defense.
Okay.
Right? One news outlet says John kicks dog. That's true. He did. Other outlet says dog attempts to bite man. Man defends himself and backs away. Dog is a piece of shit. Like, both of those are spin, right?
Okay. Great.
The demonization of John for kicking the dog and backing away in the first place is a spin in favor of the dog against
Mhm.
John. It's true, but it doesn't tell the whole story that allows you, the reader, to make a decision. It says John's a piece of shit for kicking the dog.
John's black. What if I ran the headline that Jane's dog barked and tried to bite a black man?
And so what
I'm
about the
creating spin.
other spin? Wait. What about the other side that says dog viciously attacks man?
Yeah, I think Mouseidian knows what I'm going for here. Dog protects homeowner from passing vandal. You can spin it both ways, sure. The dog was just protecting its owner from this thug,
perfectly
or
has
I go the other
perfectly,
direction and say it's attacking someone
shown
because it's racist.
the two things I'm
Mhm.
describing here. Man viciously kicks nipping dog versus dog protects homeowner from passing vandal.
Right.
Like perfect
Right.
right there.
Right. I
Is
think he's
the
on
distinction.
something.
The two news outlets are reporting on the same event, but where you get your information from is going to is potentially going to inform the way you view things. And I'm saying that the way that I look at things and the way that you look at things are from the opposite sides. We're looking at the same story and seeing a different outcome because of the bias that's implicit there. And also because the outlets that we look at, you look at the Huffington Post, I look at, I don't know, actually nothing, but let's say Fox News.
Okay.
We're going to come up with different. We're going to see different spins on the same story and come to different conclusions based on that spin. That's the problem that I have. Is
Okay. That's
I would
impossible
like
to
to
avoid.
just take the facts in.
It's impossible to avoid. Literally impossible. Every single person has bias, and every single persons are the people who write the headlines. I'm not saying you can't, shouldn't try to avoid it, but it is unavoidable. I'm recognizing that it's happened, and I think that I have looked at the things that exist, and it seems like to me that Republicans lie and continue to lie and will repeat lies far longer.
Right. So if you believe man viciously kicks nipping dog and the reality is what we talk about what actually happened, and then I read dog protects homeowner from passing vandal.
I mean, aren't both true?
Both are true,
But from a different
except that
point of view.
we should be talking about what actually happened and then drawing our own conclusions, right?
Somebody already did that.
Yeah, no, I don't buy into somebody else's conclusions. I'll make my own. Thanks.
Okay, great.
So
I've come to a
when I
conclusion.
look at the crimes that are committed,
Uh-huh.
did Hillary commit a crime? Yes.
She did something wrong. I agree. She was wrong to do so.
Has Trump committed a crime? Yes.
He's wrong to do so.
You don't have to be convicted of a crime to commit one.
You don't have to be convicted of a crime to be wrong. And I'm okay with, I know that I'm making a goofy argument here. I know that I am being overly silly by suggesting that you can't commit a crime until a court is involved. But I'm coming at it from a kind of philosophical angle. If you did a thing and it was wrong, it was wrong. But if you did a thing and the courts now tell you it's wrong, it becomes worse, right? It becomes a crime. The stakes are higher. And
no.
Is
so
Hillary
the crime
wrong?
is,
Yes.
did you do something that is against the law?
Mm-hmm.
Yes or no?
Well, we don't know. We have to take it to court to figure out. That's where
No.
facts live in the court. Courts are where facts
In most
exist.
cases, no. No.
In most cases, no.
The AirPods that your friend has, you're at your friend's house, the AirPods that are sitting on the table, if you take them and put them in your pocket without your friend's permission and leave and then pair them to your own iPhone and use them, you stole those AirPods. Is stealing those AirPods a crime if your friend doesn't find out about it, if you aren't convicted of stealing?
You've done something wrong.
You have committed a crime.
Okay.
You have committed the crime of theft.
You, Thomas, know all the facts of this because you built it in your brain. Those facts would have to be proven in a court before you're able to be convicted. You are building hypotheticals where you are God in your head, where you know exactly every single thing that man did. Courts don't know that. I don't know that. You don't know that. The jury of 12 people don't know that because they're not gods. And we're not talking hypotheticals.
It's
So
still
you
a
have
crime.
to convince the 12 jurors that it was a crime. You have to convince the attorney general or the attorney, the prosecuting attorney,
No.
that it was a crime.
A crime
you have to convince
was
them.
committed. A crime was committed.
You can't know that.
The
You literally
convincing-
can't know that. You
Hold on.
can't until
The
it's been proven.
convincing happens in terms of, did this person actually commit the crime and what punishment should we give them? The crime itself is when you violate the law.
I think you've got this entire thing out of order.
No.
I think you're all out of order. You too, Popog, I'm looking at you. You're out of order. Order. Accusation has to come first. Well, okay. An action takes place. Or it doesn't take place. It doesn't have to take place. I can accuse you of 1,000 things that are just, you never did. I can accuse you of riding a horse yesterday. The action does not have to come first. Accusation. Thomas rode a horse yesterday. We now have to prove that. And those things have to happen in order. Oh, you stole a horse yesterday. There we go.
No, we can go with road. That's fine. Road's not a crime.
Riding is not a crime, but we're talking about crime, so I should probably suggest that you stole a horse yesterday.
Let's say I rode the horse.
Okay.
Did I ride the horse?
Well,
Yes
we
or no?
have to determine that in a court. We have to
What
look at
the
evidence
fuck?
and shit. We have to look
Did
at
it happen or
evidence.
not?
I don't know. Neither does the judge. Neither does the attorney general. Neither does the 12 people in the jury. They don't know what happened because they're not gods. You have left the area of hypotheticals, which you and I hang out in all the time. Be careful of hypotheticals. That my grandfather died arguing hypotheticals. So what you got to do is take this. You and I create a hypothetical, but then it has to go into
Holy
reality, into
fuck.
meat space. Once it's in the
Dude.
meat space, does the jury know what happened? No. So we have to
I
convince
rode the
them.
horse.
We have to convince. How do you convince them? How did you convince a
I
jury?
rode the horse.
How do you convince them?
Did I ride the
Do
horse?
you have any evidence? If there's no evidence, then nothing happened. It didn't happen. If there is no evidence of you riding the horse, and you cannot show that to the attorney general, you cannot show that to the judge, you cannot show that to the 12 members of the jury, then it didn't happen. According to their perception, their point of view. So then, did you steal the
This
horse?
is
Becomes
ridiculous.
no, you didn't steal the horse because there is no evidence. If there is no evidence and it cannot be proven to the judge, to the attorney general, to those 12 people, it cannot be proven,
Waldo,
then you can't
I
hold
have
people
been
responsible
to
for
Mars.
it. Okay, great. Can you prove it?
Doesn't matter.
What do you mean it doesn't matter? Can you prove that in a court of law? No, you can't, so then you didn't. And then we can't convict you for the crime of coming back into the country illegally, which is what astronauts have to do. And you didn't check in from customs. Did you check in from customs as soon as you got back from Mars? I don't think you did. Because when you come back
Didn't have to.
you do have to. Astronauts actually have to check in
No,
from
there's no
customs.
customs in the face.
No,
I've been there.
all astronauts, this is an actual fact, silly, stupid as it sounds, all astronauts in reality have to check in with customs when they come back because they're entering the
No, they
country.
don't.
They're entering the country. Sure they do.
Nope.
We have to prove the things.
Not a thing.
I don't know what
I've been
we're
to Mars.
arguing about. Okay, great. Can you prove it? Do you have any evidence? Do you have any suggestion? Do you have any photos? Do you have anything to prove it?
Well, obviously I haven't.
Well, then you haven't been. Even if you actually did, but you have no evidence, then it didn't really happen.
Okay.
Now, why are we going on?
Today I used the bathroom and I took a piss.
I think that that's entirely plausible, but if you don't have any evidence, it's going to be real hard to prove that in court, isn't it? And if you can't prove it in court,
Why
then
does
you
the
can't be
standard of talking about something have to be proving it in court beyond a reasonable doubt?
It doesn't. But when I suggest that Republicans are lying often, you bring up Hillary, the email server, and the damned Steele dossier, which are court cases. You know, the point I'm trying to get to, the reason we're on this tangent is
The
I'm
reason
suggesting
is because
that Republicans lie often and do it all the time and will continue to do it. And we know that they're lying today, and they will tell that same lie tomorrow. Who should I listen to? Who should I trust?
the
Not
problem
them.
is, or the reason we're having this discussion is because you have a different standard of evidence for Republicans versus Democrats.
No, I don't think I do.
The left versus the right.
No, I
you
don't
do.
think I do. I think you've been lied to about how naughty and terrible and criminal the Dems are. And then when it's proven that they aren't naughty and criminal monsters, it creates a schism in your brain.
No. So when the court declines to prosecute Trump, or when the court says, yes, Trump is eligible to run, you think that's the wrong decision?
Morally, you and I, we discussed it. Morally, I think it's the wrong decision. Legally, I think they're correct. Constitutionally, I don't.
Well,
think,
you do now.
So I do now because I've looked at the evidence. Because a good argument was made to me, and I looked at that situation. I looked at the evidence, and legally, I don't think they can keep him off. Constitutionally, I don't think they can keep him off. Morally, he ought not be on those ballots. But this is the is-ought gap, which is impossible to solve no matter what the internet will tell you. What is is and what ought. And the entirety of politics is narrowing that gap on to almost nothing, right? We ought not have crime. I agree. We ought not let the person break into your car and steal your stuff. But they did. How do we narrow what actually happened versus what we want to happen?
Well, I want to.
That's politics.
Person broke into my car, stole my thing. Did they
Uh-huh.
commit a crime?
Did that
Before we
person
convict or anything, did
commit
they
a
commit a
crime?
crime?
You're putting the things out of order. You're putting it out of order. You're out of order right now.
No, I'm
You're
not. You are.
putting carts in front of horses, is what I'm suggesting. You are putting carts in front of horses right now. Do you know who did it? Can we look at evidence? The police look at the evidence. They don't say, you committed a crime. Here's the evidence. No, they look for the evidence. You have been broken into. The police show up. They look at your car and say, look, that's broken. Somebody took it. Then they start looking for more evidence on who could have done it. They start looking at dash cams. They start looking at ring lights, ring cams. They start looking for things like that. And then they find a hooded man, and they find a video from your neighbors. And then that video has a 6-foot-tall man. That's evidence. And then they use that to determine who could have done such a thing. And if they find that person with the evidence, they then bring it to a attorney. And that attorney says, yes, this is a lot of evidence. It looks like this person has committed that crime. Let's bring him up on charges. They put out a warrant for his arrest. They arrest him. They bring him in. He goes to trial. And then they find him guilty of a crime. Now he's been committed a crime. I think you're putting your carts in front of your horses.
No, the crime was committed.
You don't know that. It's impossible to know until
I know
it's
it was
been
committed
proven.
because my car window was broken and the thing that was in the back seat is gone. The crime was committed. Let Popog on. He
you're
wants to be on.
suggesting a thing that is you're putting your carts out of order. You're putting your things out of order. You're putting your things out of order. You don't know. You feel like it's been committed, and I think you're right. Popog is here to yell at me because I am being bad at law again, as usual. But
it's true. It's always true.
It's always true. I'm a leftist. We're not good at law.
The operative question is, what is it that the attorney, the what do you call it, the prosecuting attorney, what is it that they are looking for, right? When Thomas gets his car broken into, it's not just that they're looking for an immoral thing, a bad thing which happened, right?
Right.
What is the thing that they are looking for? Because I would say they're looking for a crime.
Right.
Okay.
An infraction in the law.
But they haven't proven it yet.
Right. So I don't think I don't think we can call it a crime at that point, which is why we keep getting back to this Hillary situation. Hillary did a thing. It was incorrect. It was morally incorrect. It was maybe unlawful. Was
it an infraction of the law?
Maybe. The evidence was gathered. The attorney general, the prosecuting attorney looked at this situation and decided that she would be found not guilty and hence dropped it.
Yes, but
so I don't think that's a crime.
So, okay, so the easier one is right now the most recent one, her report on Joe Biden, right?
Right, her report on Joe Biden.
So in that, the determination was made based on Biden's own statements made under oath that he doesn't dispute.
I'm back.
That the actions that he undertook unlawful actions, right? But that he would be unlikely to be convicted for them. But he has admitted to unlawful actions. So the most people would say then that he has committed a crime but cannot be convicted of it. Right? That's the language we would use to talk about those actions where what he has done was unlawful. It's essentially undisputed, right? That he has admitted to performing unlawful acts, but they're essentially unconvictable due to the circumstances surrounding those unlawful acts.
Well, I'll put it this way. I want to get to, and I'm sorry for cutting you off there. I want to get to why this is a conversation really about what is reality, right?
Mm-hmm. I can agree.
Prior to
All right, I gotta go fold laundry. Bye.
All right, wait, thanks.
prior to Galileo,
Oh, good. We're going all the way back. Okay. Prior to Galileo, talking 1300s.
in
Okay.
let's say 1550.
Okay.
All right. Any reasonable jury at the time would have said, would have concluded that the Earth was flat. Is the Earth flat?
No. The evidence
So
that I have
why?
seen
So
says
hold on.
no.
So, well, the evidence that those
The
that
evidence
jury
they
would
saw
have seen
suggested yes.
is yes, the Earth is flat.
Great.
Is the fucking Earth flat?
Not based on the evidence that I've seen. I would disagree with them. That doesn't mean that they should. And you can, hindsight's 2020. We can look at those people and say, "Ha, dummy! Why didn't you just Google it, whether or not the Earth is flat?" But they couldn't do so. So they were doing the best they could with the information they had, right? If tomorrow, new nightmare, terrible, we get a full-on.
Was the Earth flat at the time when that jury would have said yes, the Earth is flat?
Was the Earth flat at that time? They would say yes.
They would.
They would say yes, yes.
The answer, though, is no, and the Earth has always been fucking round.
Says your hindsight 2020 ass. You are hindsight 2020ing right now. You're doing it. You know better, and so you are judging the people of the past. You know you are playing God right now. You are looking at a round world. You are being
that is
God.
Not the point of what I'm getting at.
You've been bringing to me
is
hypotheticals. You've been writing and creating hypotheticals where you are God and you know all the facts. You are being a God right now by saying, I know the world is round, and those people didn't. You're above them, you know? And because you're above them, you have a better vantage point of the round world, of whether or not somebody stole the headphones, whether or not you rode a horse, whether or not somebody broke into your car. You have created all of those things, and you're the God of those things. So you know the answers. But put yourself in the shoes of the people inside, the not gods, inside your hypotheticals. They don't fucking know whether the world is round or not. They don't know whether the guy stole the headphones. They don't know whether or not you rode a horse. So you have to present to them evidence. And by you saying it's
there are
crime,
facts that are facts. Truth is the truth, regardless of whether or not we recognize it.
That truth is unknown unless you're past the point of knowing it. And if you have not gotten to that point yet, then you need the trial. You need the evidence gathering. This is why I'm saying, again, that you're putting your carts in front of your horses. You just told me that truth is truth and it's reality. Well, how the fuck do you know what's true and what's not? You got to do the evidence first. You got to put the evidence. You have to interview the people. You have to check for the broken window of your car. You have to have the cops look around. They have to do the fingerprints. They have to compare those to things. They have to find those cameras. They have to send all this information, package it, give it to a prosecuting attorney. That attorney then makes the decision. Yeah, there's a lot of evidence here. We should prosecute this person, and then they will be found guilty. And then after all of those steps, the fact is the fact.
Okay, so in 1500 AD, the Earth was flat, and also someone breaks in my car, my window's broken, their fingerprints are on my shit, they stole something that was in my car is gone, there's video evidence, prosecutor says I decline to prosecute, it was a crime committed.
That seems unlikely. I don't think that happens. I don't think
I'm
that they do.
I'm presenting
Was a
you with a
crime
situation. Yes or no?
2 crimes happened. I'll go, yes. They committed a crime on you, and the prosecutor who didn't push it is doing a societal crime. 2 crimes.
Oh, okay. So if you refuse to prosecute crimes that actually happened, you're committing a societal crime.
You're harming society, yeah. But hey, guess what? We're going to have to, one, make the accusation of that attorney general who refused it. Then we're going to have to gather evidence. Then we're going to have to interview the people, and then we're going to have to double check that their interviews are actually true and correct, and not political. And then we're going to have to bring that up for a trial. And then we're going to have to put that attorney general up for trial and determine whether or not they committed a crime against society. Yes. And if that then makes it all the way to a judge and a different attorney says, yes, this attorney general has done a crime by not administering those crimes, then that's a crime. And yeah, and Popog is giving us more law stuff. Their prosecutors actually have immunity and cannot be prosecuted for exercising their prosecutorial discretion. But if it were really, really, really bad, I think that they probably could at some point. But crimes aren't crimes until they're proven.
I think they are crimes still.
Only
a
because
crime
you
was committed.
have determined in your belief, in your head, that they are proven.
No. It happened. Someone broke my car window. Took something out of my back seat.
Fact.
Did not have the right to do that.
I agree.
Whoever that was.
Whoever was.
Committed a crime. In the abstract, the truth is that the crime of stealing something that didn't belong to you happened. The proof is who did it.
Who did it? Great.
But the crime exists. It doesn't matter if it's
fine. I'm fine. Okay. I'm fine. I'm coming to meet you. I'm coming here. Yes.
Okay.
The crime happened. Something went wrong. Someone did a thing. If you immediately run out and point at your neighbor and say he did it, here's the evidence, you have to gather that evidence. So in the situation of Joe Biden, we started from the running out to your neighbor and pointing at them and saying they did it. That's what happened. That's what the Republicans did. The Republicans don't like this person and started accusing him of crimes.
Well, no.
And then they went looking for evidence. That's what I'm telling you happened. That's exactly what happened because there's a politics stream. The Republicans.
No, we were talking about Hillary.
Yeah, they don't like Hillary, and they started pointing at her, saying she did crimes. Hillary did crimes. Hillary did crimes. Hillary did crimes. Hillary did crimes, and we're going to investigate until we find one. Hillary did crimes, and we're going to find them. And then they work backward from there. This is exactly what I'm suggesting that they do.
Hold on. The crime we were talking about, the one that you said was not a crime because it wasn't proven in a court of law, you've now agreed to the idea that a crime can happen without it being prosecuted.
A crime can happen without it being prosecuted, sure.
Okay, so it doesn't require that someone prosecutes a crime for someone to commit a crime.
You have to be prosecuted to be proven to have committed that crime. Hillary did a bad thing. She did a wrong thing.
She
didn't commit a crime. No. You can do things that are not prosecutable. I can pet the dog, and that's not prosecutable as a crime. She can bring home a server and put not confidential stuff on it, and it's not a crime. And then when the confidential stuff happens, it could be a crime, and then we have to determine whether or not it was a crime. The evidence suggests that she would be found not guilty of a crime, so they dropped it.
No.
Yes, that's literally what happened. That's literally what happened.
No, the evidence suggested that they could not prove beyond a reasonable doubt that she was guilty of the crime.
That's
beyond
what I
a reasonable
said.
Doubt is a high standard.
That's what I said. That's what I'm saying.
Did O.J. Simpson kill that girl?
The evidence, some of the evidence suggests that he did, and some of the evidence suggested that he didn't. And he was found not guilty. And again.
But did he, though?
Did he? I don't know. I wasn't there. I'm not God. I didn't build this scenario, this hypothetical, inside my head. So I can't know. I can know some evidence. I can look at what's presented, and I can have a feeling based on it.
Well, hold
I
on.
can feel like he did all day long.
Outside of your own knowledge and my knowledge and anyone else's knowledge, is there an objective reality where yes, he did kill that girl, or no?
That's
he
you.
did not?
You just said outside your head, and then you said yes. You said
No.
put this outside your head, and then you brought it
what I
right
said?
back inside your head.
I said, is there an objective reality where, listen for
Okay.
a second,
I don't.
yes, he did this, or no, he did not? Is there an objective reality that exists outside of our understanding of it? Did he do it?
Unknowable.
Did he not?
It's unknowable.
It is unknowable, but
You're asking if a
what
tree
is
falls in
true?
the forest and makes a sound.
Yes, it does make a sound.
The air sounds are heard by ears. If no ears heard it, did it make a sound?
Yes.
It's philosophical. Everything gets back down to the philosophical. Did the air molecules move? Yes.
Okay.
Did it make a
the
noise?
tree fall?
So okay, let me rephrase it.
Whoa,
The
hold
tree
on.
fall. Did it make a
You're-
noise? Did it make a
No,
noise?
You're not even asking, did it make
Was
noise?
it loud?
You're asking, did the tree fall?
The tree fell. We have evidence to prove that it fell. Did it make a noise? Doesn't noise have to be comprehended by an intelligent thinking being?
No.
No? I agree that the tree fell and that it created a ripple within the airwaves, within the air molecules.
The thing happened.
The thing happened. Great. Did it get perceived by a human? No. Then it didn't make a noise. Because noise is perceived by humans. You know what I'm saying? Do you follow what I'm going for here? Am I just talking nonsense?
I mean, I suppose it could have spawned as a fallen tree.
As a fallen tree. There's no evidence of trees spontaneously. You don't have any evidence of spontaneously spawning fallen trees. I do have evidence that trees grow and then fall over. So what I'm trying to get to is that crimes can, in fact, be literal things, and they can also be philosophical things. Is that not true? Can they not be philosophical?
Crimes?
Sure. Is there a philosophical idealism behind the word crime? I mean, you have to kind of...
No, there is a philosophical idealism behind why we ban certain activities.
Okay. So you would ban certain things because they're harmful to
when
society.
we say something is not allowed, and then that thing that is not allowed is performed, we call that a crime.
Okay. I'm on board for that. What I'm saying is, if they have decided, if somebody accused Hillary of a crime, and then she is brought up on charges, and then they look at the evidence and they suggest, hey, this cannot be proven as a crime, and then they drop it.
No, that's
it wasn't
that's
a crime.
Too specific. No, the crime was committed.
You can't know that. You're starting from the end. This is the cart before the horses that I have been accusing you of. A crime happened.
No.
You, in your brain, said you know it happened. You know it happened. You just said that you know it happened. A crime happened. That's inside your mind.
Yes, just like I know the crime happened. Someone broke my window, took my thing in the back seat. I know a crime happened.
You didn't know that until you saw the evidence.
Who committed the crime?
Who committed the crime is an excellent question in that situation.
That
is
exactly.
Hillary responsible?
The crime was committed.
All right, I know where our misunderstanding comes from.
Can I prove that beyond a reasonable doubt? That this guy in particular was the one that broke my window and stole my stuff.
Who is an excellent question in that situation.
Who
is not a part of the Hillary discussion. We know who. Hillary. Is she criminally responsible? That is a different question than who broke your window. And because they're different questions, you're putting your carts in front of your horses. And you're saying, this crime happened, and we know it happened, and we will find the person responsible. You haven't proven that a crime has happened. The FBI couldn't prove a crime happened. That's why they dropped it. But you have been told by people you trust that the crime absolutely happened and it was a crime and we know it. And then they worked backward from that conclusion to prove that it was Hillary that did this crime. They're putting their carts and their horses in the wrong order.
So let's turn this around again then.
Mhm.
Donald Trump is allowed to run for the presidency and has not committed any crimes because he has not been convicted of any.
Legally, he is allowed. Constitutionally, he is allowed. Yes.
I thought you were morally speaking.
I bounce back and forth, and I apologize. You're right. I'll even consider it to Hillary. No, you have to look at all of them. You're saying that only one direction is the right way to look at it.
No, I'm telling you to pick an argument.
What is?
And make it.
Okay. What does this say? Because to me it says 8, but to you it says 13.
Well, it definitely says 13.
Well, to me it
So
says
if
8.
you say it says 8, you're wrong.
It says 8 to me. Why does it say 8 to me?
Objectively speaking, you're wrong.
No, boss.
It might be 8 to you because you're schizophrenic.
No, it's 8 to me. Why is it 8 to me, Thomas? Why do
This is a terrible argument.
This is
What
a
are you
great
doing?
argument. Why does this say 8 to me? Because from my point of view, the 8 is pointing right at my eyeball. I'm looking at it. There's an 8 right here. I'm looking right at it. Boss, do you not see this 8? No, you don't see the 8, do you? You see the 13. That's what I'm saying. Different vantage points, different views. All the views have to be taken into account is what I'm trying to get to. What the hell was I talking about? Is Hillary morally incorrect in doing what she did? Yes.
And legally, yes.
Legally, no, because they dropped it. The legal question has been answered and been found to be no. You refuse to accept it.
She committed a crime.
You refuse to accept it because you're not
She
accepting
committed a
reality.
crime
You won't accept
just like
reality.
O.J. Simpson killed that girl.
You can't know that. You have been given some information and you have come to a conclusion. And the legal system has come to a different conclusion. The 12 people that didn't convict O.J. have come to a different conclusion. And you refuse to accept their conclusions. Morally, I will be upset with the Supreme Court who allows Donald Trump on that ballot. Morally. But legally, I will not be upset with them. Constitutionally, I will not be upset with them. Morally, I will be. I have a complicated brain. I can have a moral argument and a legal argument that disagree with each other. It's not easy, but it's possible. What the hell are we ranting about? We are on one today, aren't we? I appreciate everybody who's in chat.
Yeah.
Thank you for coming in. I had a whole bunch of new people come in, and I didn't even say, I barely
Well,
spoke to
so
them. I appreciate everybody.
We've
who's
really
here.
only talked about like
I
the
know.
first topic this whole time.
I know. It's
What
only
was
been
the
one
second
topic.
topic?
The fucking, let me think. What else do we have? A witness told the feds that she was paid for sex parties with Matt Gaetz. Now, I'm going to make some complicated arguments here. You ready for this? I think.
Well, you know, she only told them that, so it didn't happen.
Right. Does she have
Until
evidence?
we can prove it in a court of law.
Right. Does she have evidence for such? I didn't say Matt Gaetz committed this crime. I didn't say he's been absolutely found out to have been proven it. This is evidence. I generally only speak in evidence. There's some evidence that suggests that he was part of sex-filled prostitute orgies, which I think ought to be legal. Morally, should Matt Gaetz be allowed to go to a drug-filled sex orgy with prostitutes that are above age? Yes. Morally, I think he should. Legally, he's not. Constitutionally, we can discuss whether or not drugs are allowed and prostitution is allowed during the Constitution.
Okay, but did it happen?
But did it happen? There's some evidence that suggests it did. If you've got evidence to suggest it didn't, then that's a thing we can discuss.
Well, I can't prove a negative, so it's kind of on you to prove that it did.
Okay, well, I've got a witness who is saying that it did. This woman is saying that it did. So she's claiming under oath that it did.
But you got to bring the page back up because
Okay,
I
sorry.
don't have it on my
Yeah.
computer.
Ethics Committee is investigating Gates and his text messages between the congressman and a woman who claims that she had sex with Gates at parties she was paid to attend. So she is telling people, she is telling the FBI, she is telling the feds that she was paid to go to this party and have sex with people at the party. That's what she's alleging. Is that proven yet? No, it's not proven. It's just an allegation. And if the allegation is wrong, listen, I'm going to look right in the camera. If this allegation is wrong, I will tell you it's wrong. I will go back and say, hey, yeah, remember on 2/17 when I suggested that Matt Gaetz did this thing? He didn't. It's been proven that none of that happened. I will do that. Will the Republicans do the same thing for Hunter? Not Hunter, but for Hunter and Burisma? No, they will not. No, they will not, and they never will, because the allegation is the important part for them. They will completely claim that just similar, and I'm going to compare you to them right now with Hillary. Hillary's case was dropped, yet you continue and will continue, probably for the rest of your life, to say that it is true. Donald Trump can be proven wrong and will continue to say it's true. Doesn't matter what evidence pops up. Doesn't matter what evidence pops up in this Hunter Biden thing. Republicans will say that it's true. And that's what irritates me about them. This is why I watch the news and get so confused. The evidence is suggesting that it isn't true. Yet I think that a whole lot of Trump fans are going to ignore the evidence right here in this story.
Ooh, well, hold on. That's the distinction that you're mistaking.
Okay.
Is I think it's possible that the evidence can suggest that something is true, and also that evidence cannot be enough to convict someone beyond a reasonable doubt of their guilt.
Right. Isn't that the situation that Hillary's in?
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying.
Okay, great. So you feel like
the crime happened.
So it's a feeling again.
So the crime happened. The evidence says the crime happened generally, but not to the degree where we can say 99.9999999% chance yes, this happened. But we're at like 95%.
Yes, that she's criminally responsible for what happened.
Oh yeah, like
we know it
I
happened.
would say 95.
I'm
90,
99%. It happened.
Yes, the crime happened.
Well, but server happened.
Convictable. Like, if I'm at 95%, then there's a remaining 4% gap between my conviction of that and a court conviction saying yes, guilty. That doesn't mean that the crime didn't happen.
Am I incorrect in suggesting that Hillary Clinton was not prosecuted for that crime? She wasn't convicted of that crime.
You're correct. The crime, but you're
okay. But you're going to keep telling me that she did it. You're going to keep telling me she did it. Donald Trump's going to keep telling me she did it.
Hold on a second.
Every Republican is going to look in the barrel down the barrel and say she did it.
The question you asked in the first place is begging the question. Was she convicted of the crime?
No.
The crime happened.
If nobody was convicted, I might suggest that no crime happened. Can you accidentally run a red light? Is that still a crime? Is that still a crime?
Yes.
Can you accidentally set up a server? Can you set up a server and then accidentally do a bad job? You can do a bad job.
You can accidentally run a red light, and yes, it is still a crime to do so.
And if the district attorney pull you over, and chooses to let you off with a warning.
Go, you just ran a red light.
It
was an accident, but you just ran a red light. Did you run the red light? Yes.
Yes, you ran a red light.
And when you go to court, Yes, you ran a red light.
Okay, great. Did they and they chose not to convict you?
And they chose not to convict you, but did you run the red light?
That's the situation Hillary's in.
Is running a red light against the law?
Yes.
There you fucking go. I still committed a crime.
Accidentally, unintentionally.
Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. Don't care.
The crime happened.
Crime does. Okay. After the fact, you can know
After
that.
the
Yes.
fact, we determine intent.
I'm
and
agreeing
whether
with
or
you.
not we prosecute.
The Hillary stuff happened. I'm telling you, she wasn't criminally responsible for it because they're just dumb and didn't know what they were doing and did a bad job. They accidentally ran the red light. And instead of and that's not what Donald Trump and the Republicans are going to call it. They're going to say she cheated. She's a criminal. We absolutely know she's a criminal, and we have the facts that she's a criminal, and you cannot vote for her, and you can't vote for any Democrat ever because they break the law.
CGL is a great point.
Well, Common Ground Live. Donald Trump and the thousands of people involved in the January 6th protests were never charged with inciting an insurrection, yet they keep calling it an insurrection and not a protest. Such a joke how these politicians ignore the law. It was an insurrection.
Wait a second. Did a jury say that it was?
No, morally it was an insurrection.
Yeah,
I'm not arguing the facts. Yes, morally it was an insurrection. They were trying to use things to affect the future. Yes, morally it was an insurrection. Absolutely it was. They were trying to affect the election after it had already been done. They were trying to create fake electors. They planned for the things, and they intended to stop the flow of the proper government. It was an insurrection, morally standing. Has it been proven in a court? No. I never said it was. I never said it was proven in a court. Morally, it's a insurrection. Yes. Generally, that's where I hang out, is in the morally area or in the evidence area. I hang out in moral and evidence. Okay, so morally and evidentially, we've got FBI informant charged with lying about Hunter Biden's ties to Ukrainian energy company. Are the Republicans going to make that same distinction that I just made? I don't think they will. Do they make that distinction for Hunter Biden and Hillary? No, they won't. Maytag, who I know, I'm sorry, I'm bringing her up again, will just say whatever the fuck she wants.
Okay, hold on.
She'll say that Joe Biden did an insurrection on January 20th.
Wait a second.
Because they don't care. The
FBI
accusation is all that matters.
Charged with lying about Joe and Hunter Biden's ties to Ukrainian energy company.
Yes.
He was charged.
Yes.
Now, there is an objective yes or no here.
No, there's not.
You don't know, and I don't know.
Okay, great. Okay, thank you. You don't know, and I don't know. Nobody
Did he lie about it, or did he not?
The evidence suggests that
there
he did.
is an objective here.
No human can know what that objective is. No human can know. No human can know.
I understand that no human.
Then why ask the question?
Except for him.
Why ask the question then? It has no value. The answer has no value. And any answer you give me, I'm going to challenge.
It absolutely has value. Because when we examine the evidence, that evidence is going to unearth the yes or the no.
No, it won't. No, it will not. Absolutely no, it will not. It will create evidence. If you investigate, you find evidence, there is only evidence, there is no proof. And I want you to think about that sentence. That's the stance that I have literally taken for every single thing that I have, every thought I have in my head. There is evidence, there is no proof. There's no such thing as proof. There is only evidence. Some of it very strong. Some of it very high level evidence. Very good evidence. But there's no such thing as proof. Because it can be cheated.
Okay. So back in 1500, the Earth was flat.
There is evidence to suggest that it was, yes. All the evidence that they had suggested that it was flat, yes. When new evidence comes along, Did they change their minds? This is the important part. So, great. I love that. I'm glad we got here again. All the evidence suggests that the world is flat. New evidence comes along suggesting that it is round. Do you change your mind? The Dems do, the Republicans don't. That's what I'm charging them with. That is what I'm morally suggesting that they do. When new evidence comes to light, the Dems will look at that evidence, weigh it, and they might be unhappy with it, but they'll change their minds if they're properly functioning. The Republicans won't. That's what I'm accusing Donald Trump of doing.
I don't think I can argue this further. I mean,
Donald Trump will continue to say that Hillary committed that crime. He will continue to say that Joe Biden is a crook, even though the evidence suggests that he isn't. Because he needs the accusation. Because they do not care about the facts. They do not care about the outcomes. They do not care about the things that disagree with them. The evidence suggests that Joe Biden is not a crook. But they're going to ignore that evidence, and they're going to continue to tell people that he is. And they're going to use the debunked evidence. Do you think that Donald Trump is going to change his mind about Smirnoff? No. He's not.
you've been nice.
He's not going to change. He's not going to change his idea. He's not going to change his mind, and he's going to continue to tell it. And he's going to continue to lie to people to tell them that Smirnoff is believable. And then they invent conspiracy theories to prove that he isn't, or to prove that he is, and that Joe Biden controls the Justice Department. You know, Donald Trump is doing that right now with all of his trials. Right? He's saying that Joe Biden is doing all the bad things that you can do with the government to prove Trump is a criminal. He's lying about that. The evidence suggests to me that he is lying about that. We're way off topic.
Yeah,
I will.
and I disagree. But I did have to do a quick Google search
Mhm.
real quick because Papa disagreed with me in chat,
Oh God.
and he said 1492 was before 1500. And hey,
Sounds about right.
either way, Galileo is the one credited with the round Earth and or round Earth theory, I should say.
All right.
And he was definitely born after 1500.
Okay. I'm gonna dig through chat and read some of these things. What have we got? We've got a bunch of cool people coming in here to chat, giving us their attention. So I will pay some attention to them. Let's see. Common Ground Live. Morally, everything is a crime. Maybe. Kissing Gonzo. The instant the protest was classified as a riot, the riot them interrupted the process of our government, the procedures outside the existing legal procedures. You're instantly qualified as an insurrectionist. I think I can wrap my head around that. That sounds about correct to me. Morally, if you don't agree with it, it can be a crime. A bunch of talk about morals. I appreciate you guys. Not getting pulled into the delusions that are being shared. Sorry, maybe next time. Which delusion? Who's delusional? Everything is delusional. What makes you think you're not capable of avoiding it? Not seeing it. Okay. Yeah. And this, Thomas, you and I, you did say the word objective a few times, and as you remember, I think that there's very few, there's very little objective reality.
Well, it seems to me that in terms of the words delusion, you believe that all of life is a delusion.
Everything is delusional. 100%. Yes. All of it. because it has to be filtered through a human brain. Human brains are horrible little things that are filled with bias, misunderstanding, beliefs. Beliefs are terrible. Nobody should ever have any. That's kind of how I got to the
That's where we
point.
disagree.
Yeah, I
I
try
think that
real hard not to
objective
have it.
truth it exists. It whether or not humans exist or our consciousness exists, regardless of that, the Earth and Mars and Venus. Let's just go with Venus, for example. No humans exist on Venus.
I have seen no
Venus,
evidence that humans live on Venus. I agree. That isn't a belief that I have. I have seen
Venus
no evidence to suggest that they do.
still orbits our sun, the gaseous star, the exploding hydrogen bomb at the center of our galaxy.
There's an awful lot of evidence from people I trust. There is a lot of evidence from people I trust suggesting that that is true. Yes. But I don't always say that whole sentence.
And
because it's a long sentence.
I was born and you were born.
Mm-hmm.
And after we die, that will still be true.
There's evidence to suggest that those things are correct, yes. I hate the word true anyway. There's evidence to suggest that it is correct. Yes.
So
beliefs in true are fucking mind-killing cancers, man. They really are.
Hold on. There is true. Truth exists.
Okay. I think there's evidence and there's really strong evidence. And there's evidence that you can't dispute.
Our analysis of the evidence of those truths is irrelevant to the actual truth. So, for example,
what does it matter?
I'm trying to paint the picture.
Okay.
Back in the 1500s,
mm-hmm.
Our evidence suggested that the Earth was flat.
Our evidence suggested the Earth was flat. Yes, I agree. The evidence suggested such.
But there is an objective truth
that no one can know. So why worry about it?
Not flat.
No one can know any objective truth. That's what I'm telling you. No human can know any objective truths. So why say that there is one? Why say that there is one? It's a waste of time. It leads to people being damned sure, and it will lead to a 13th century peasant looking you right in the face and telling you objectively truth that the world is flat. That's what it leads to. And it is a bad position to end up in, which is why I don't want to do so. Anything that I say objectively is true could be proven incorrect later. So I won't say that there's anything objectively true.
The purpose is we can't know. I get where you come from. We can't know the objective truth outright. We have to prove it.
There is only evidence. You have to gather the
evidence of the objective truth. However, when we draw the wrong conclusion from the objective truth, the evidence of it, that is,
mm-hmm.
or when we decide we can't actually make a decision beyond a reasonable doubt based on that evidence, it doesn't mean that the objective truth is not the truth.
It means
even
that it's
when our
unattainable.
evidence,
why waste your time?
Stop. Even when our evidence. Why? What? There's no why waste your time. No. It's continue
It's
digging.
unobtainable. Why waste your time? You and I could argue for the next 8 hours about who would win in a fight between Goku and Superman, but there is no objective truth because they are fictional. Did we not waste our time? It could be entertaining, but you would not have an answer at the end. Who would win in a fight? There is there is no objective truth in that situation, right?
The Earth was flat in 1500.
Are you saying it was, or are you saying that they thought it was?
Well, you're saying that what they thought it was is the truth. Why would you bother arguing over whether or not it's flat? That's the best
Okay, I
evidence
see
we have.
what's going on. Okay. I'm not saying looking for truth is a bad thing. I'm saying you have the truth is a bad thing. You should trust people who are searching for the truth. But anybody tells you they found it, you doubt them immediately. I do not trust anybody who says they found the objective truth. No, I don't trust you. If you say you're trying to look for evidence and come to a conclusion, I can trust you. Does that make sense? Am I a crazy person?
So, if I say that X is true, let's say as hand of God, right?
Okay. What?
We have Y and Z observers.
Okay.
They must check the evidence of X.
Okay.
In order to draw a conclusion. Now, Y and Z, they come up with different conclusions about what happened. Did X still happen?
It's unknowable, and why would you get to the point of saying it did happen?
The answer
it's
is
unknowable.
Yes.
No, the answer is literally unknowable. Literally unknowable. You have only evidence to suggest one or the other. If those people are disagreeing on what happened, it's unknowable. All objective reality is unknowable. You can have evidence to suggest that it is correct. You can have a lot of evidence. You can have mountains of evidence that is damn near impossible to prove. That doesn't make it objectively true. Objective reality cannot be obtained by a human brain in any way, shape, or form. It can't. And I'm just being philosophical right now. Yes, I know. But no, you can't obtain objective reality inside a human brain. It's impossible.
Okay.
And
Next topic.
It is impossible. Why spend your time telling me you know what is objectively true? The fact that you tell me, every time you tell me something is objectively true, I doubt you. I'm like, well, he can't possibly know that. We have gone so far afield, but it's sometimes fun.
We were on Matt Gaetz.
We were on Matt Gaetz.
One more topic.
I think that is probably the end of it. No, I think I closed everything else because it got a little late in the afternoon. So Waldo and Thomas's Philosophy Hour has concluded. Thank you to everybody who is here. I appreciate everyone who is here. We got a little philosophical rather than headliney. But that happens, and sometimes you just roll with it. Sometimes we're in a philosophical mood, and it seems like we were, and we just kind of go with it. I don't always plan what happens on the streams. I bring up some links and stuff like that, and then we talk about what happens, and then we get into a philosophical debate anyway. So what is going to happen? What time is it? It's 1:20. I haven't eaten lunch. I'm starving to death. I appreciate Thomas being here. Did you have a good time, Thomas?
Oh, I certainly did.
Okay, good.
I think there might be some people that want to argue with me.
That's okay. You know what? They could do so at the Discord. There is an entire channel that says disagreements with Thomas. Then there's an entire channel that says disagreements with Waldo, and you can type anything you want in there within reason. And we will see it, we will discuss it, we will type it up, and we will discuss with you. So if you would like to disagree with us, you can do so right here. It is very fun and it's exciting. And then you can come back on Monday when I stream again, Monday night, probably 7 o'clock, West Coast time, PST, West Coast, Best Coast, and I will say it every time because we'll do some headlines on Monday night. Then if we run out of headlines or we're not super exciting, we'll turn on the text-to-speech lady, our Lord and Savior Canooch, the wonderful lady that she is, will read all these things to you while I play a video game, and that will be fun.
Also, I only watch you on Kick.
On the Kick?
So
okay.
Where else can that happen?
I am also on the Twitch, so you could watch on the Twitch. I guess I should put that in the thing there. Yeah, you can go to the Twitch there and watch there, or you can go to the Kick, but you have to be on one of these things, I guess, to be watching right now. And that is the Kick thing. The chat is Twitch and Kick and YouTube all together, though there's only one guy who uses YouTube. He's a very cool guy, but he is the only one that uses the YouTube chat because it's a bit slower. So if you want to use YouTube, you can. It's just a little slower. That's why we generally keep to the Kick and the Twitch chats. So if you want to watch the videos, you can go here to the YouTube. What I'm going to do is I'll take all of the stuff that happened today, I'll chop it up into little bits, we'll put it into YouTube videos, and then you can watch them later there. And the terrible wrongs that I have committed will be forever filling the internet. I'll just be wrong all day long on YouTube, and I won't be able to take it down. And
well, I certainly expect the disagreements with Waldo channel to be
it's going to be
much more popular
popping
than the disagreements with Thomas.
It's going to be popping today, apparently. Yeah. But it's the information. It's the internet. It's filled with misinformation. I just wanted to be a part. So everyone who is here, I appreciate it. Thank you for coming. Thank you for chatting. Every time you chat in the Kick, you get 5 points, and you can use those points to play games. We had a really good stream today. I'm glad you had a good time, and I like to ask that because sometimes I get messages being like, well, how could you talk to Thomas? And I'll be like, well, I had a good time talking to Thomas. What are you talking about? And that happens sometimes. I'll get a message and then they'll be like, God, how can you talk to this guy? I'm like, I had a great time talking to this guy. This is super fun. And
yeah, you gotta forward those messages to me so I can talk shit. Those
Maybe.
fuckers! How dare you?
How dare you come at him? So that is the entire thing. My name is Waldo, and I am feeling the politics with you. I will be back on Monday night, 7 o'clock, to feel the politics with you some more.
Hi, I am Thomas. Also, we have some streams to do. And those streams are game streams.
Yeah, I usually do those on Monday and Wednesday nights. Do you want to like create a second channel or something like that where we just do the game streams?
Possibly.
Okay.
I know we talked about it for a while, and I did try to stream some Final Fantasy. What was it? 6?
6, I think. Yeah, you and I. We would almost have to. The way that YouTube works these days is that I would have to create another channel because the algorithm hates that shit. Dude, the algorithm, God, hates the idea of Monday I post a philosophical debate. Then on Tuesday I post a political news bit, and then on Wednesday I post you playing Final Fantasy 6. The algorithm will absolutely shit on me, and it will dump my ass. What the algorithm likes is for me to create 3 different channels for that. And it's why you probably notice that if you're a YouTuber, if you're watching on YouTube and stuff like that, if you use YouTube on a regular basis, you notice this now. There's who's that really cool guy that I watch? Josh Strife Hayes. Have you ever seen any of his stuff? He's got three
Name
different
is familiar.
channels. He's got 3 different channels. He plays MMOs, and then he's British and he's funny. He will do like a Josh Strife plays where he plays the things, then Josh Strife says where he talks about things, and then he has a third channel where he just like reviews things and stuff like that. And then he's had to split it into 3 channels because putting them all on one, the algorithm would not send people to him. And it's a really weird way that it works these days.
Huh.
And that is so. If you're on YouTube, you'll probably know. Now that I've pointed it out to you, you'll probably notice it as you cruise along YouTube. The same creator, the same human looking into the camera, will have a different channel for stuff like that. And so that is apparently how it works now. If you're interested in doing so, we would what would we do? We would create a new channel, call it Waldo and Thomas plays the games, something along those, something catchy. Workshop that for us, chat. By all means, I will take your suggestions, chat. Then we would play that game, and we wouldn't ignore politics. We could still mention it, but at the same time, we would have to almost differentiate what we talk about, how we do it, and stuff like that. And we would keep it just to the analysis of the game that we're looking at, shit like that. Does that
I
make
like
sense?
that. What do you think of Baldur's Gate?
Baldur's Gate is great, and Game of the Year, it deserved it, and is a fantastic game. Have you played
All
it?
right. Well, Waldo and Thomas play Baldur's Gate on honor mode.
Okay, that is one hell of a time commitment. I would need to hire an editor just to edit all the way.
Why? I'd be so mad during so many points.
What? Like because
It'd be perfect for content.
it's good content. I agree. It is a very cool game, but like an editor, like I have to turn all of these things into YouTube videos, and you have to do the sound work, and you have to cut out the ums and the uhs and shit like that. And
Nah,
it's
leave it.
just
Leave it
well,
all. Just straight video.
just straight to the video. Okay, but I mean that's
It's a let's
VODs.
play.
That's fine. Let's play. It's VODs. That's fine. Maybe that does eat up a lot of time. We would have to. I would. Me personally appreciate if you want to do that. We would have to set a time, and we would have to stick to that time, and I would be what's the word rigid about starting that thing on time and playing exactly for this many hours. I mean, there's a reason I start exactly 10 o'clock every Saturday and 7 o'clock on Mondays and Wednesdays, because I've worked out with my family and my wife and my kids and all that fun stuff that this is the time, and outside that time I'm not doing that. So I have to be strict with my time. Direct to Disney VHS and DVD. Yes, that's the level we're going for here. I wish I could get up.
So much money, baby.
Yeah, I wish I could get up to the level of Aladdin 3, the Prince of Thieves. I wish I could get that high.
Oh, that was Aladdin 2.
I don't remember. I think no. 2 is Return of Jafar. 3 is the Prince of Thieves.
Oh shit.
Which was Aladdin's secret dad. Okay. My name is Waldo. I have done an outro. I appreciate all these wonderful people who are here. How many people do I have on Twitch right now? 2. That doesn't seem like I should do a raid. I don't know how to do raids. I will find out how to do that later. I got raided today, and it was very fun. Anyway, we are ending. We are over. We are done.
We have
Thank
8
you.
viewers on Kick.
We have viewers on Kick.
Actually.
Does Kick do raids? I don't have any idea if Kick does raids. God, and I don't know how to do them. Even if I could, I don't know how. There's probably a button that I should press or not. Become a follower, and then tell me how wrong and stupid I am and how bad I am at this job. I'm gonna raid you out to somebody. I don't know how, boss. I'm literally not even kidding. I have no idea how to do such a thing, or who to even raid you to. Honestly, like I would raid you to like a bikini girl. Like that's what I would do. Is the 3 people that are on Twitch right now, I would raid you to the smexiest bikini girl I could find, because algorithm be damned. Anyway, that's enough. That's fun. I appreciate it. I love you. Thank you. This is one of the best streams we've ever done, and I am going to press the stop button right now.
Bye.